Well, hello and welcome, comic and manga connoisseurs. This is our arc by arc review of Berserk. This is a blind read through with my boy Luke and a seasoned Berserk vet like me. Not a vet, but I've read the series twice, enough to know a little bit about it. My boy Luke here is reading it blind. It has been a couple of years, too long since I've read Berserk, reread it rather, and I'm really excited to do this reread and arc by arc review. So for today's review, if you guys can't tell by the thumbnail, it's going to be a blind review of the Black Swordsman arc of Berserk, which is consists of the first three-ish volumes of the series. The first deluxe, the first three tankobons. Um, but yeah, this is going to be he's reading it through the deluxe. I'm reading it through my tankobons. Just easier to carry him around, take him to work and stuff like that. But yeah, this is gonna be a great time. I love this arc, and in hindsight, I really enjoyed it. But man, rereading it really solidified my love for Berserk and why I love reading in general. So without further ado, Luke, what did you think, man? What did you think of your first read through? I know you've read it a long, long time ago, but it's a lot longer than it has been since I've reread it myself. But what were your thoughts, man? What are you thinking about this first arc? I read your comic. Um, what is it? Comic Geeks. I read your Comic Geeks review on it on your your profile. But if you could reiterate it for this video, that'd be cool, man.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I enjoyed it a lot. I mean, like you said, I did read this years ago now. Probably I don't know, back in 2021, I think. So nearing on like 5 years ago. Um, so it's been a while, and I obviously Berserk is just so popular that I even thought that I had read through the Golden Age arc, and I know we talked about this before, but I don't think that I've actually like read through it. But I know for a fact that I've read this first deluxe because that was the because I started collecting it and reading it in the deluxes. I never read it any other way. But anyway, um, yeah, the art. I mean, you can't beat Miura art, man. That is just
Oh,
fantastic,
dude.
and the vibe is just awesome. I love the scenery and just that '80s like dark fantasy kind of like vibe, man. It's brutal, and
Oh yeah.
I think it's cool. Like Guts as a character is very much a very like a douche in this like first arc. Um,
He's very much one note.
right.
Very, very much.
Um, and I was kind of expecting that. Like I knew that much, but uh, you know, there's little bits and pieces of emotion that we get to see of him that kind of hint at a more character complexity, especially at the end of the arc, which I suppose we'll get to. But there's little bits and pieces that like you said before we started this episode, that are alluding to more stuff we'll see. And I mean, I'm sure there's tons of stuff that I didn't catch. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was just real. It was really good. I mean, It's not gonna be my favorite arc. I already know. Like by the end of this, there. It's just like the beginning, the intro, the pilot to Berserk. But it's a good start and helps you get into that vibe, get into that mood.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing that in hindsight when I read it, I just thought like this was the sickest shit I'd ever read. It was like hyper action. Every other page is a fucking splash page of Guts, ripping up, either a demon or a person in half with his hunk of iron of a sword that he has. And but rereading it now, um, after a couple years of just not reading, anything rather, or any manga at that, I realized that this first arc is very, very instead of because Berserk is a coming of age story of Guts, and his upbringing and his tribulations and stuff like that. But like this arc is very, horror like coded, man. It is very fucking creepy, very, very like demonic. Um, there's a lot of just some creepy horror shit in it, like that I just never really like sat back and really looked at. I was just kind of enamored by the first of all the art, and then second of all like the just how badass the character Guts was. You know what I mean? I didn't really a lot of people like whenever you watch their blind read through reviews, a lot of people don't like Guts because he is a douche, 100%. But whenever I read it, saw those cracks in the character, like alluding to like you were saying, a more complex character, and I just fell in love with him. Like I know we're kind of skipping a little bit here, but like whenever he's stabbing the count, telling him
Mm.
like I'll show you the limit of a human, like that shit was just like this is fucking peak. You know what I mean? I loved it. And yeah, I think it's very horror coded, and it's not, honestly, it's not a very good representation of what this series has in store. You know, if you know the next arc is the Golden Age arc, it very very rarely has demons. There's not much. It's just kind of like a political war between these two different, three different, four different factions and stuff like that. And
Almost kind of
it's been a while.
like a Game of Thronesy kind of deal where it's not. I mean, there Game of Thrones has dragons and like ice zombies and shit, but at least to begin with, it's very just character centric, like human sort of political. Not very. It's not high fantasy at all. It's just like
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's very, very like I've
grounded.
never seen Game of Thrones. Yeah, very, very much grounded, very character centric, and you're following, I know we're not in the Golden Age review, obviously, yet, but it's very much a character study on, Griffith, Guts, Casca, even Corcus, those random offshoot characters that we'll grow to love as we continue reading the story. But how did you want to do this, man? Did you want to go like kind of, because I would say that this first arc has like two big like sections to it. You got like you know the Snake Baron at first, whenever he fights the Snake Baron, and then you got the whole count, going into that whole city, and Guts kind of taking on the count.
Yeah.
Um, oh, and then actually the third, like the little side quest one with you know, the carriage and the little girl and the priest grandpa and stuff like that. So
Well, that stuff comes first, right? I
no,
think.
so it's the Snake Baron, and then the transition getting to the castle with the count is with the priest and his daughter and stuff like that.
Okay, so yeah, let's just take it step by step. I guess like four sections, and then we'll end it off by talking about that first chapter that they show of the Golden Age that shows Guts as a little kid. It has
Yeah.
that in volume 3, right?
Yes, it does. It does. It
Yeah.
has like the awful Donovan part, and
Yeah.
the uh remind me what is Guts's like um
His father figure?
Gambino.
Gambino.
Gambino, yeah,
Yeah.
Gambino, yeah. Okay, well we'll get to there obviously. But we can start off with the book starting off with Guts fucking a demon. Like what the hell was that about, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That shit was
It's
kind of
just
intense,
weird,
man,
but
honestly. Yeah,
it's
very weird, very, very weird. Because in hindsight, like you're like, oh, this is fucking metal, you know what I mean? Puts the fucking cannon in his mouth, but like in the overall continuity of Berserk, it's kind of like Guts would never fucking do that, you know what I mean? So
right.
it's kind of it's weird, but it kind of if you're looking at like a pilot episode of like The Walking Dead, say for example like The Walking Dead, you need a hook, you need like that, like badass, like he's a fucking mercenary, he's like, you're the one that's trapped, bitch, and he fucking shoves his cannon arm in your mouth, boom, blast it off. It's just,
Yeah, yeah.
it's weird, but it's fucking, it's edgy, it's cool, it keeps you, it's like cool, you know what I mean, in a way.
And what I've read is just that I think in hindsight, even Miura was like, "Yeah, that. I mean, that was just some bullshit that
Yeah,
I just like wanted to do because I needed something to hook everybody in." But a lot of
yeah.
people debate on whether or not that first scene is even canon to the actual series. But I still think it's interesting and it's kind of funny because of how infamous it is. You
Yeah,
open
oh
up
yeah,
the
it's
book and it's
very.
just him laying into a dragon, bitch.
Yep, you just see him pile driving some fucking weird ass demon chick.
Oh,
But
it's funny,
literally
man.
the first panel is you see Guts's butt cheeks, bro. Like you're like, what the fuck is this? So yeah,
uh,
it's very, very infamous, like you're saying. But it gets you hooked. It gets you like, okay, this is very. If you're not into seinen manga, if you're into like the Dragon Ball, you're into the Toriko, you're into the One Piece, no manga opens up like that.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it hooks you almost immediately
You're
if
in a
you're into
very
that.
different landscape. Like this is
Hundred
not for
percent.
kids, man.
Oh
This is not
hell
a
no, hell
shonen. Yeah,
yeah. So from there, Guts goes into the whole you start getting revealed certain things about this world where he's branded with this this mysterious brand that bleeds whenever there's demons around. There's evil that constantly hunts him down because he's branded with this mysterious brand that no one really knows why. And then you also get introduced to this character Puck, which is like a little fairy. Take it for what you want. You can think he's a girl, you can think he's a guy. But personally, me and Luke here think that he's just a little dude, like a little like an elf. You know what an elf would be if he was a male. And he's kind of like the how I guess you could say he's acting as the audience.
Yeah, he's
Very
a shoe in for the reader.
absolutely, absolutely. So he's like you know, like what the hell's going on? What's this brand? Why are these guys following you? Kind of asking the same questions that us, the reader, are doing as well. Um, but what did you think about Puck, man? What you liking Puck? You thinking he's annoying? Because a lot of people, it's literally a hit or miss with Puck, to be honest.
I like Puck. I do like Puck. I think he adds a bit of levity to the situations and to the book that can be needed at times, given how dark it is.
Hmm.
But I do like that because of as complex of a story as Berserk is, Puck is asking those questions that we're asking, and it's in a subtle way, kind of letting us know that even if these questions may not be answered right away, or um, it's letting us know that we're not being ignored as the reader. That
Yeah.
it's like those questions are either going to be answered soon by Guts himself, or Miura acknowledges that we do have those questions and brings it up. You know what I mean? So I think it's a clever literary device that Miura uses, and I just think Puck as a character is also really neat. And later on, we'll get into it, but when he's talking to the Count's daughter and stuff like that, I think
Mm.
he's a really cool character.
Or even Vargas. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
Like whenever his conversation with Vargas. But so when the in the actual story, Guts saves Puck, but he causes a scene up in this bar. He says that these people are from Kokora Kora Castle, something like that, and he tells the mercenaries from that castle that the Black Swordsman is coming, and tell them that the Black Swordsman's coming, and it kind of shocks fear into this, these like band of enemies and stuff like that, and you know, this boss character he kind of looks like Dracula. I don't know if you caught that, but he kind of looks like a weird vampire-esque type of character whenever he's eating the ear
Well,
from that
even like I could be wrong. I could just be imagining this, but wasn't there like some like grotesque like bodies outside the castle and stuff too, or am I making that up?
I'm pretty sure there's like bodies literally staked onto like spears out on
Well,
the castle, correct?
it's funny you say Dracula because Vlad the Impaler, who he's based on, who's probably based on then. That's like a real thing that happened. That you know,
Yeah, yeah.
so it makes sense.
Vladimir is Dracula, right?
Well, yeah, he's a real dude that Dracula is based on.
Oh wow,
And
okay.
yeah,
So
he
I
did
know of
that same shit.
Vladimir. Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, because he does have like those pointed ears. He's got those fangs, so he definitely gives off those vampire vibes. But without question, Guts fucking puts those mercenaries to fucking rest, kills them all, and the art is just fantastic. The first scene you see with action is literally Guts just throwing his sword and just fucking blasting this dude in half. And the art, one thing I know about Kentaro Miura's art, or one thing that I love about Kentaro Miura's art, he conveys motion extremely well with his line work. Like you
Mm.
could see the bodies like turn with it being a still picture, just being conveyed with lines and stuff like that. It's very, very, very impressive. And then as you continue on with the story, Puck continues to follow this guy Guts, and Guts is just an asshole. He keeps telling him you're a bug. People are beneath me. If you keep worrying about where you're walking, you won't crush the ants beneath you, or something like that. Just being just very, very focused on whatever his mission is at this point. And eventually, he gets to the castle, um, and the Snake Baron, like the boss of this castle, comes out, And what do you think about that whole sequence, man? About the Guts hiding under the bodies and the Snake Baron coming out with that child staked on the end of his spear as he's riding in. Yeah, it was
Yeah, man.
intense, intense.
But I do like that part where Guts is hiding under the bodies and then he pops out. Like it's very neat, and I guess it shows just how resourceful Guts can be, and like whatever situation he's put in, he'll figure something out. You know. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It was a neat moment. You know.
Oh, awesome, man. And the thing about Guts is, the dude has got an entire army's worth of arsenal, man. He's got daggers, he's got fucking throwing knives, he's got crossbow, he's got cannonballs, he's got his massive sword, and on top of that, he's just almost too overpowered. That I realized in this arc, he's fucking really overpowered. But as we'll get into later, he tells the Count, he's like, I'll show you the limit of a human, and what the drive, will entail. And I think that's just awesome that Guts is, because these mercenaries and these people keep saying like, oh, he's inhuman, but no, he's just a normal guy just like me and you. And I think that's what makes him really compelling.
Well, I think
But
real quick, if let me chime in here. I think one thing I noticed about Guts, and that's sort of a overarching theme throughout. I mean, I guess moving a little bit forward, but just a segue, I guess. I don't know, but Guts is a human, but the theme is that like these people are making these demonic contracts and stuff to go beyond humanity and become something otherworldly and uh, to gain more power. But one thing I like about Guts is that he's, so human in not only like his emotions, but like him fighting to hold on to that humanity. He could very easily give it up, just like any of these other guys, and become a demon, a very powerful demon, probably. Uh, because I mean, we see how powerful these demon guys are, and they're just some nobody. Like if Guts, his base strength is up here, then his like in his demon form, he'd be insane. But he's fighting to hold on to that humanity also. Um, I just think that's really cool. It's almost kind of like a bit of a shonen-y trope, maybe. I don't know. Because especially with the Count later on, like you were saying, like the limits of your humanity, like that whole scene. I'll show you the limits of humanity. It almost reminds me of like I don't know, almost like Asta or something from Black Clover, like pushing past your limits, like that kind of vibe. I don't know. It just tonally felt similar to me as I was reading it, and you bringing up Guts being a human and all that, it just reminded me of how I felt.
yeah, it's truly something really cool, because as like a reader, you could kind of pull strength from that as well. You know what I mean? You could be like, like an icon like David Goggins. You know what I mean? He really shows you the limit of a human being.
Who gonna
And
carry the boats?
yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's a weird comparison to compare Guts to David fucking Goggins, obviously, but in a way, they both kind of represent, um, you know, pushing that limit of what humans can actually do. Um, but yeah, so the Snake Baron fight was awesome. Um, you know, whenever he's pumping those arrows into his head and he's begging for his life and shit like that, like it's just, it's edgy and it's awesome and I loved it. Uh, what did you think, man? Did you think it was a little bit too edgy, or do you think it was a little bit too? Because I know it gets a little bit more fucking nuts with the whole Count and like his
Oh,
backstory and. But what did you think, man? Do you think Guts is a little too overpowered, or what are you thinking?
um, I don't know. I don't know that he's too overpowered necessarily. I think that he's driven. I think that it's not that he's overpowered necessarily. He gets wounded just like anybody else, but it's just him being filled with like rage, and just like him pushing past the pain and ignoring it and just like keeps going, and he's just drawing strength from his anger, you know, and just like whatever he's driven, whatever his mission is. And I think, you know, maybe it seems like he's overpowered at the moment. Just, maybe he is overpowered, but I don't know. Just the way I see it, I think whenever we get the context for what this mission is, I don't. I think the way we'll look back at this arc isn't that he's necessarily overpowered, but just showing how driven he is. You know, that's how I feel
Yeah.
about that. I don't think he's overpowered necessarily. Um,
Okay.
but
Yeah, because I don't think I just know that that's a common criticism of this first arc that he's like crazy overpowered. I don't know if you watch Mike's book reviews, but I watched his
mm,
review on this first arc recently, like before I even started reading it over again, and
right.
that was one of his criticisms that he felt like Guts is a little bit too overpowered. But I thought it was kind of like an interesting, take on it. But I'm very much in line with your opinion where he you know, he's using his anger to push him forward each and every step, and almost to a detriment because you can kind of see him losing his humanity whenever he fucking smiles, whenever he's like gonna do something, or he's gonna kill someone, or even like, I guess this is a good segue. Whenever he gets picked up by that priest and his daughter,
Mm.
he's like, why would I give a fuck if they, he tells them, he warns them, like, don't, I'm followed. I'm being followed by these demons and stuff like that. Like, don't follow me. And he's like, you know what? Why the fuck would I care? You know what I mean? Why would I care? So I think, he's driven by his anger, but almost to a detriment to the people around him and even himself.
Well, with Guts, one thing I just thought of that I was reminded of is it very well could be that he's overpowered, but it's no different really from any other manga. Like if you think about shonen manga, right? You think about Kid Goku at the very beginning or Luffy in during Romance Dawn, right? They're incredibly like stupid overpowered for where they're at in the series. Like any like I don't know, something anything that comes in their way, they just like destroy it immediately. You know, like for One Piece for example, Luffy doesn't really have much of a challenge until probably around Crocodile. Like I think probably Arlong. I mean, Arlong was more of a challenge, I think, because of everybody else, you know. But like, just straight 1v1, like Arlong was like low diff for Luffy, right? Like
Oh yeah,
you
for
get what I'm
sure.
saying? Like
Oh yeah,
out
absolutely.
out
Because
out the gate in manga, I feel like characters are usually overpowered because you have to show just how strong they are, and it goes back to that being kind of a hook, um, just like kind of balls to the walls. But once you get into the series a little bit, you'll see these characters face more adversity, that they struggle more. You see more of that struggle as you go on. But I think starting out, you know, a lot of the time you don't see that struggle right away.
yeah, for sure. And even with like Luffy fighting Crocodile, like you were saying, that was like the first fight where Luffy really had to think outside the box besides just fucking punching and punching and punching. He had to, you know, use the water
Yeah, yeah,
to actually kill Crocodile at the, or not kill him, but beat him at the end of the Alabasta arc.
right.
But no, I definitely get what you're saying. It's like but I feel like, to your point, like Guts definitely gets his ass kicked a lot
Oh yeah,
in this. Like he fucking gets thrown, he gets fucking, even stabbed like we're about to get to, but like, he just you know, with all of him whooping ass and shit like that, he does whoop a lot of ass, but man, he gets his ass whooped a lot in this. It's just, like we were saying, it's the drive of his anger, the drive of his, you know, quest that we don't know yet, is why he, keeps putting one foot in front of the other.
for sure. It's definitely. I think it's a combination of both. Now that I really think about it.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, so like we were saying about the next part of this arc, which is the priest and the daughter. It kind of gives you, um, and Kentaro Miura is like a master at just setting these hooks. What is the brand? Why are these demons following him? Why is Guts such an asshole? Why is he like, don't touch me? Why?
Mm,
Kentaro Miura sets all these hooks and really, really, really hooks you into the story. Even though Guts isn't too much, not even too much, he's not really likable at all. in this first arc. But he keeps you wanting to learn more and learn more and learn more. And this kind of explains what the brand is. It's a mark of evil. It's a mark of you know for these demons to come hunt Guts. This mark represents um, there's always going to be evil around, and it's always going to be after him. And and it shows you that he dreams about these fucking demons coming after him, and even though it's a dream, it's his reality. It's his world. He can't sleep. He can't rest. And whenever he does, he's constantly bombarded by these dreams of these demons um coming after him and stuff like that. So in the carriage, he's having this dream of this weird like fucking baby type thing, like fetus type thing chasing after him. And it turns out that this incubus, um this like demon that feeds on his worst fears, um is like kind of bombarding his brain and making him dream these nightmares rather. And he kills it and stuff like that. And you know the priest says to Guts, he's like, "Oh no, demons don't exist. We have God on our side." And Guts says, he's like, "Oh, you believe in God, but you don't believe in demons?" He's like, "Yeah, like give me a break." You know what I mean? Like fucking come on. And it's just true. You know what I mean? It's like there's two sides of the coin, and it's revealed there that this old battlefield of these ancient warriors. I wouldn't say ancient, but these, obviously deceased and very, you know, decomposed warriors. They're crossing a battlefield, and all these skeletons come up, and it's such a badass scene because it very is like Dark Souls coded. I know Dark Souls came out after, but it just very much reminds you of like a dark fantasy action game like Dark Souls, like Elden Ring and stuff like that. What did you think about that action scene, bro? I personally really fucking loved it.
I think it's really cool, and I like how also Mira drew a lot of fog too, and like you could see the monsters, like the undead that are like in frame, but you could also kind of see silhouettes of more of them that are kind of like coming out of the fog, and it just really
Yeah,
paints this picture of like they're like surrounded, and there's just like a horde of them that are closing in on them even though you can't see all of them. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I just thought
yeah, 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 yeah.
it was really neat, just how it was drawn, and like the composition of that section was really cool.
Yeah, Kentaro Miura is just like, and keep in mind we're literally on the first volume of this series, and this series came out in 1989, which fucking blew my mind whenever I you know first found out about it. And it's just his art is fantastic. It's literally the best ever on the manga side of things. But we're just getting started, man. Like this art just get even on the third volume of this manga, it just fucking transcends from the first volume. You know what I mean? It just gets better and better and better and better. And like you were saying, the way he uses the fog to kind of describe that there's like visually like tell that there's way more skeletons that you can probably imagine. And Guts just another thing that I really love about Kentaro Miura is the way he like like darkens Guts's face completely, but he has that one eye, and it's like that negative space where it's just that white eye, and he looks villainous, man. He
Mm.
he really like a villain. And that was like kind of the question whenever I first read it for the very first time. I was like, man, is this guy the fucking villain? You know what I mean? Is this guy the bad guy? Which obviously he's not. But it really like it kind of shows his humanity where he's at in his mental state where he's just in a blind fucking rage. He doesn't care what's in front of him, but he's gonna defeat it and he's gonna take it out.
Well,
So that
to
whole scene with the whole sorry, go ahead.
real quick, I just wanted to add on to that point that you were making, where you're questioning whether or not Guts is the villain. I think that's a really cool thing to look at, because you think about Guts, he's always wearing black. His whole like color scheme is like the black and red, and he's a douche. Like he's not a great dude. Like let's be
No,
honest.
at all,
Uh,
at all.
but then obviously I know a thing or two about Berserk. You look at Griffith, right? Who's very charismatic, and he's always wearing the white armor with his flowing white hair and the silver hair. or whatever he's got going on. He looks almost angelic, very soft
Oh,
skin,
absolutely.
very angelic. I would say, almost looking like
Yeah.
like a prince or something. And
Oh yeah,
you,
for sure.
like when you weigh the two next to each other, you see Guts who looks like a villain, but ends up being the hero, and you see Griffith who looks like a great guy and like he looks like the hero, but obviously we know something happened there, right? So it
Yeah.
almost it uses that like that visual storytelling, I guess. Like you see these tropes and like the way the characters are designed in almost a very like a I don't know, like a classic hero's journey kind of feel you're where villains and heroes are very clearly defined. Like you see Darth Vader, you know that dude's a bad guy because he's all in black with the red lightsaber. You can clearly see who's good and who's bad. So it takes that kind of thing and sort of flips it on its head, and sort of subverts your expectations when just based on like character designs and even character attitudes as well.
Yeah. Absolutely, dude. I've never thought about that. Yeah, like I obviously thought that Guts. First of all, he looks like a villain. He acts like the villain. We don't obviously know his backstory yet, but I never thought about that before because Darth Vader is probably the most you know infamous like villain in fiction. Everyone knows who Darth Vader is. Everyone knows that Darth Vader's bad. He's got the cape. He's got the red saber. You know what I mean? He's all black. And then you look at the Jedi. They're white, brown with the blue, green, even purple sometimes saber, and they look like heroes. Compared to compare and contrast like the villain, Darth Vader versus the Jedi, they look like villains. They look like heroes. But in this, like you were saying to your point, Guts definitely looks like blacked out, fucking massive sword asshole. And then you got Griffith, the very angelic, royalty, almost hero, which, and whenever we get in the golden age, he almost is like the hero. But yeah, dude, it's like I never thought about it like that before, and that's a great, great, great point that you have right there.
It's
That's
like
awesome.
it's like the yin and yang. Like you see that duality, but at the same time, this is a different case because it's not clearly defined, and it's the opposite kind of.
It's like yang and
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yin. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great point, bro. I never even thought about that, and I've read this shit. I mean, there's gonna be so many things that you're gonna pick up on that I'm fucking gonna be blind to, and that I'm probably gonna pick up and you're gonna be blind to. So that's why this is gonna be such a great journey and ride. Um, and
Before,
there's gonna be a lot of. Sorry, go ahead.
oh, continue.
No, I was gonna say there's gonna be a lot of like stuff that me and you were gonna be able to discuss in the Golden Age arc because there's a lot of like fucking shit where it's like yin and yang and yin type shit, and with Guts and Griffith, and then you throw Casca in the mix and stuff like that. But yeah, it's gonna be the next fucking arc, man. Is gonna be a trip to go through. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, man.
But what were you saying, bro?
Oh, I was just gonna say, real quick before we move on, talking about the whole carriage sequence. Uh, are you familiar with Lord of the Rings? Like,
Bro, I've never seen the Lord of the Rings.
okay, well, okay. Let me explain what I'm gonna say here. So one thing that I kind of noticed and got the vibe of, the brand of sacrifice, how whenever it bleeds, whenever there's like demons nearby, and it like
Mhm.
the demons are attracted to it. So in Lord of the Rings, Bilbo and Frodo both have this sword called Sting, and it's like a elvish sword, but it glows blue whenever there's monsters nearby, and the brighter it glows, that means like the more monsters there are and the closer they are to you. So like if it's only like a little bit glowing, then they're further away, but it'll be like bright, almost like lightsaber blue whenever
Oh,
they're like really close. So it kind of reminded me of that, like with
mm,
the brand of sacrifice, how like it bleeds whenever there's monsters nearby, and in the same vein, in Lord of the Rings, whenever Frodo puts on the ring, it like alerts all of the monsters nearby and like the ring wraiths where he's at. Well, not the monsters, but the ring wraiths, like the basically Sauron, the main villain, like his elite troop that are hunting him. Whenever he wears the ring, it hides him from everybody else, but Like the big bads know exactly where he's at. So
Hmm.
they're able to sort of track him down and hunt him in that way. So the brand of sacrifice almost feels like a very like fucked up version of some of the stuff that we see in Lord of the Rings. Like multiple things, multiple elements combined into one and then just make it fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just all that dark fantasy horror, a little spice in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Is that is Lord of the Rings after Berserk, or is that an inspiration? Do you think?
Oh, Lord, yeah, it's probably. I mean, Kintaro Miura was probably inspired by Tolkien. Lord of the Rings,
Oh, well,
or
books. I'm literally thinking of just the movie. I forgot Lord of the Rings was an actual book series.
oh
I
yeah,
completely forgot about that.
The Hobbit, I think came out in like the 30s.
Oh, really? It's that old.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So definitely, if it's not an inspiration, it's definitely like, similarity as
Well,
well.
Tolkien is considered like the grandfather of fantasy. Like,
Oh, I see. I see.
yeah, he basically invented modern fantasy. So,
Okay.
I mean, there's really no chance about it. Like, Miura was definitely inspired by Tolkien in one way or another.
Yeah. Okay. See, that's awesome, man. Yeah. So that's a cool comparison because I played the, not getting off topic, but I've played the Shadow of Mordor and the War of Mordor or something like that. Those Lord of the Ring games,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they have that sword in there. I'm pretty sure that
Mm.
that glows whenever there's enemies around. But anyway, um, I was thinking I could wrap up this little side quest with the daughter and the priest, and you could pick up from there and kind of explain like let's go beat for beat through the through it if you want to take over from that.
Sure, yeah. Just remind me if there's anything that I'm forgetting.
Yeah, for sure, for
Okay.
sure. But okay, so so this battle's going on with Guts. He's battling all these different, ancient warriors, these skeletons and stuff like that, kind of displaying his badassery. You know what I mean? He's a badass, and skeletons aren't really too much, but man, whenever you get overrun, you're probably gonna die. But Guts is such a beast, so well with the sword. You know what I mean? That he can really do some damage to these skeletons. So he ends up telling the priest and the daughter to stay in the carriage, stay inside, don't come outside. I have this. Well, the priest and the daughter come outside. The daughter, gets her head cut off, and then no, is that how it goes, or is it the priest gets his head cut off by the daughter, or the daughter gets her head cut off and then she gets reanimated by a demon?
Uh,
Is
the daughter gets like stabbed or something, and then she dies, and then she's like
oh, and then
she becomes like a demon or like reanimated, and then she like cuts her dad's head off and is like holding it.
yeah, so it's kind of like a twist. You're like, holy shit. So it's like, um, you know, and then there's like a still panel where Guts gets stabbed by her like willingly, like without any, pushback or anything. She just like slides this sword into his like stomach area, and Guts is kind of like stuck. Like, what do I do? And just fucking whacks her like a baseball bat across the fucking panel, and he kind of immediately drops down to his knees. He like fucking starts, throwing up, and kind of showing, a crack into, his more complex character. Kind of just like he doesn't want to kill a kid. You know what I mean? Even though it's a reanimated, like demon that's a possessed version of that child. He didn't want to do it, and he fucking slices her in half, throws like such a sick panel. Obviously, it's fucked up, but it's such a sick panel. Just seeing him just one swipe and she's gone,
Yeah,
and he throws up and he continues the battle, and you know the sun comes up and you can see this super cool art of these dead, like, or not dead, but these skeletons laying there, and you can see these souls coming out of their body, like floating up into the air as the sun comes up. And from there we can continue on to the actual like count's castle and the how it's full of heretics and stuff like that. But that little mini arc, man, or not mini arc, but like that little tiny little story beat has some really good moments, like you're saying, the fog, Guts killing that little girl, and throwing up right after. um it just, first of all, it shows us Guts is human. He doesn't enjoy fucking doing this. It reveals that the demons are attracted to the brand, and it further proves our point that Guts is a complete douchebag and doesn't give a fuck about pretty much anything at this point, rather than revenge for whatever reason we don't know.
Right. I think, well, one of the things that kind of becomes apparent in this arc is, I mean, it goes into play with, like, you're talking about, showing those cracks in Guts' character. That maybe he isn't a douche because he's a douche, but maybe he's that way because he cares. Um, and he uses it almost like a defense mechanism to stop himself from getting close to people so that he doesn't end up heartbroken, or but also to protect other people because he thinks that maybe, well, if he's mean, and people don't want to be around him, and that's for their own good. So he's being terrible to people to protect them in a way, to not only protect his own sanity from not having to see people get close to him and then die and that weigh on his conscience, but also to, like, physically protect other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because, yeah, no, totally, absolutely. Yeah, I yeah, that's a great point because you know, he's an asshole not just because of what he's been through, but he's trying to keep people away from him so they don't get hurt, which is
Right.
another great point that I didn't even think about.
Mm. But yeah, no, I and correct me if I'm wrong, but in that panel you were talking about where, like, the sun comes up and all the souls are coming up, doesn't, like, the fog clear and then you can see, like, just how many bodies there were on the ground, and it's like, isn't Guts, like, surrounded by bodies and you see just how many of them that he, like, took down? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, they're I can show you guys right here, but it's kind of blurry. But yeah, there's a
Oh, okay.
bunch of like skeleton carcasses around and stuff like that. But I think the next page just gets um right into Guts being more edgy, like laughing in Puck's
Oh,
face. Yeah, yeah, that it's awesome. It's awesome. I really really enjoyed this arc. Obviously it's not in the overall continuity of the story. It's kind of Guts is in a fucked up state right now, but it's just for a first time reader like yourself, it just kind of puts those hooks inside of you, making you want to continue and wonder why this guy is so fucking insane.
well,
Because he is insane, man. He's not just driven by rage. He's literally like fucking insane, like wild, just totally outside of his own head, driven with rage. Crazy.
before we move on, there's one more thing that I wanted to bring up about Guts in particular. Is you see him smile and, like, laugh at really messed up stuff, and I wonder if it's not just that he's crazy, which very well, like you said, could be a part of it, but you see a lot of people use what they call, like, gallows humor to um, cope with bad situations where people who have a very dark sense of humor and, like, make dark jokes usually have something going on inside, but usually laugh at or, like, make fun of really fucked up situations to make it seem lighter, I guess, and, like, to cope with their own mental state, I guess. um,
Yeah,
and just, like, I wonder if that's also part of what Guts is doing, is he it's almost a way for him to try to lighten his own mood and, like, keep sane in this situation, but it comes off to everybody else as just him being weird and insane. You know what I mean? But to him, it's um,
like a coping mechanism.
a coping mechanism. Exactly.
Yeah, that's another good point, man, that I never even thought about. Because to me, he just looks like a fucking insane. You know what I mean? Because he's literally just fucking. He just killed this little girl. He just fucking killed all these skeletons. The priest has his head chopped off, and he's just fucking, hanging around his massive fucking sword and just dying laughing in Puck's face.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I definitely think you got a great point there.
I mean, you see plenty of movies and scenes and shows and stuff where, like, there'll be, like, this terrible situation and, like, all the character can do in that situation is just laugh, even though, like, it's just terrible. You know what I mean? Like you'll see a character just drop to their knees and they won't be crying. They'll just be laughing to themselves because it's all they can do, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he even says he's like Guts says like I said, and well, because Guts says it wasn't your fault, or not Guts. Puck says it wasn't your fault, and Guts says yeah, you're. He starts laughing. He's like, yeah, you're totally right. He's like I said, anyone who gets killed because they got caught up in someone else's fight is a small fry. If they can't live their life freely, they're better off dead. So
Right.
it's like
It's
he's
almost like
just
he's trying to convince himself, you know? Like
yeah,
like
absolutely.
he's trying to take the weight of the deaths of the people around him and lessen that weight and being like, yeah, they deserve to die anyway, which isn't true and he doesn't actually believe that. But if he says it out loud and says fucked up stuff and mean stuff, it takes that weight off, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure, for sure. And I love those parts, man, of like seeing his humanity fucking kind of slip because like I said back to what we were saying earlier, like is this dude the fucking good guy?
Right.
You know what I mean? Is this guy even, are we following the good guy? And yeah, parts like that, especially whenever he says fucked up shit like that, like they should be dead anyway. You know what I mean? It really puts that into perspective where you're like, what kind of who even is this guy? Why is he so like this? So just
Right.
goes back to those hooks, man. Kentaro Miura is a fucking master at setting those hooks inside.
Yeah, man.
But the arc wraps up with what I can assume is the God Hand talking to him. Through the like
The
through
brand.
the maybe yeah. And they're just telling him that wherever you go, we'll find you. Um, wherever you stand, we're after you and stuff like that. And at the time, Guts just puts his cannon up in the air and just says shut up, and they fucking stop. And we kind of get on into the next probably finale, I would say, of this arc, which is the I don't know what the castle is called itself, but it's the full count section of this arc, which is arguably, obviously not arguably, but it's the best part about this arc for sure, because it definitely feels like it has like instead of it being like Guts going on from one place to another to another to another, it's kind of you start in this castle and you're making your way through it to the boss, which is kind of like very game like in a way.
Yeah.
Um, where Guts starts off with fucking killing these like very low level knights and stuff like that, and then he eventually gets to the sub boss, and then he gets to the count, and it's very much like a video game in a sense, which it maybe that's why I really vibed with Berserk when I first read it, because it just felt like such. There wasn't too much reading, obviously, and it's just super hyper violent, and it just has like a very much like an RPG. Like there's that big boss up there at the top of the castle. How are we gonna get there? What kind of obstacles are we gonna face in between? How are we gonna get there and stuff like that? It fucking awesome, man. I love this arc a lot. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. That is a good point that I didn't really think about, but you could even like with the whole what do you call him the snake guy, the emperor
The Snake Baron.
snake baron. At the beginning of that arc, it's almost like he goes into the bar, right, and he's like gathering information and like causing a scene, and that's like the start of the mission. You're trying to figure out intel, figure out who's who. He's listening. He causes a whole scene, but he's listening to the people talking around him in the bar. He's picking up pieces of information, and then he sets his plan into motion, right? So
Hmm.
and then he's like just slowly making his way through, and like you said, that the progression of enemies as you go on, it is very video game like.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, Fucking awesome, man. Just even talking about it, I'm just like, man, this arc, even though it's not a good representation of Berserk as a whole, it's just such a fucking like that's why I wanted to make it just a solo video on just this arc, because I know you wanted to put this one and the Golden Age together. It's just the Golden Age and this arc are so fucking drastically different in
Mm,
its way, obviously, of storytelling and just the characters themselves. Like, are we go from being mid game of an RPG back to level like being level 30, 35, 40 to being level 1 in the Golden Age and shit like that. Just really
Right.
kind of taking it back and just complete different vibe. And it just the vibes are so immaculate in this first fucking like arc. It makes you there's some very sad, intense parts and it that really pulls some emotion out of me. I don't know about I'm only speaking for myself, but like it just really pulls out fucking like just certain emotions, man, of like almost disgust, like triumph, um, even like just like uncomfortable. Like talking about that first panel. It's like fuck, you know what I mean? So yeah, this arc is fantastic. But sorry, go ahead and continue where we left off.
So I don't know if I can necessarily go beat for beat like you can, but what I remember happening was like the next volume starts and we see the Baron, uh, and he's sort of propped up, and there's like a I can't remember. I think it was like a not a gallows, but like a guillotine or something. Like
Yeah, yeah,
they're executing people, and you see the Baron just chilling there, and he has this servant guy, like his right hand man, and his right hand man is like, "Yo, are you sure we should be doing this? Like, man, you're killing a lot of people. Like, you're
yeah,
trying to hunt these heretics, and I don't know, you're not really giving them a fair trial or anything like that. You're just killing motherfuckers." And he's like, off with their head. And so
yeah.
there's this chick down there, and she's like, "Yo, I'm not a heretic. What's going on? Like, get me out of here!" And then whap, and
Oh,
lops her head off. Um,
yeah.
and I don't remember if Guts is in the crowd or not, or if he's elsewhere, or if that's just the intro to the arc. Maybe you remember, but
Trying to think. I'm reading. Yeah, so Guts is in the crowd,
that's what
and
I
then
thought. Yeah.
yeah, he picks up the girl's head and like looks at it, and he's like not really. He just has that stone, like fucking cold look to him. You know what I mean? Just like no fucking emotion, and kind of as like a message to fucking I'm coming, motherfucker. He fucking boom throws that head
Mm.
the count, and the count picks it up, and he's just like he fucking sees the brand like on in blood written on her forehead, and that's how he knows. He's like, the Black Swordsman fucking coming. He's coming for
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. So then that whole scene leads into like him being hunted down by the soldiers, like the Baron's men. And there's this really cool scene where was that the scene where there's the horses, or was that later on, or was
Um,
it just the dudes like on foot?
it was just the guys on foot. It was like yeah, it was just the cause Guts he just willingly gets captured by these guys.
Oh shit! No, you're right. Never mind. That this is before that. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
I
I'm
think
getting
I
I'm
think
getting
you're
ahead of
talking about
myself.
yeah, yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good, bro.
But yeah, he gets captured, and probably just to get like inside the castle and just kind of gather more information of what's going on and getting his bearings in this new area. That he just allows himself to get captured. And does he get like tortured a bit too, or something like that?
Yeah, he definitely does. He's getting like whipped.
Yeah,
He's getting fucking pretty messed up. Pretty messed up.
right. But that leads into that scene though where he's just like sitting in his cell, and he's like, isn't he like tinkering with his arm and stuff? And I could be wrong because I often get my stuff mixed up, but that's like where we get one of the first like big conversations between him and Puck. Um, and we almost get like a soft scene between them. I forget exactly what is said, but it's almost like Guts realizes that he's getting too close to Puck, and then just flips a switch and tells him to fuck off, pretty much.
Yeah,
And
he's like, you're a bug. He's like, bugs are beneath me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so that's where we get Puck. Like he goes away, right? He like flies out the window, and he's like,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, I'm trying to think what happens after that.
Well, I think we're getting ahead because I'm flipping through this, just trying to. I think I kind of messed up the order a bit. So Guts actually fights all those ground soldiers, and
Right.
that's whenever he gets noticed by. Vargas, and then Vargas is like,
Oh,
"Come here, come here."
that happens there.
Yeah, so he gets helped out by this weird little
Hold
dude
on.
without a
Yo,
face,
Cameron, give me
basically.
just 1 second.
For sure, bro.
I'll cut this part out. Hold on. What's up?
You got a minute?
Not really. I'm doing
Hey,
my
get over
podcast.
here.
Alright, when is it gonna be over?
In a while. Like I'm in the middle of something.
Come on, I wanna see you.
All right. Sorry about that. My brother came in my room.
Nah, it's all good, bro.
All right.
Yeah, I kind of messed up the order of the story. I'm gonna be flipping through my Tonkabon here just to
Yeah, I
kind of
tried
rehash.
tried doing that, but it's a little bit more difficult with this big ass thing to kind of flip through it on the fly. But
It's all good, bro. So yeah, Gut shows up at the at that town. All these ground troops from the count, you know, because Guts makes it known that he's there and he's ready to fight. He's ready to come after his ass. So the count kind of sends all these ground troops after him, and he Guts fucking tears him up, man. He beats the shit out of all of them. He kills pretty much all of them. He fucking slices this dude in half to where he hits the wall. He starts sliding down, and then the count sends this like kind of bigger soldier, this guy with a warhammer, up to kill him. Because he doesn't know Guts' strength, man. He's just kind of the count is just a dude that's up, and he's the king, man. He's the fucking overseer of everything. He doesn't really, you know, at the time we don't know. He's just kind of like a fucking king, you know what I mean? He just lets his troops do all the work for him. So they send out this big old guy to fight Guts, and you know, Guts puts him to work, man. He fucking beats the shit out of him. He breaks his helmet off because they both swing at each other at the same time, and Guts, you know, with his big old hunk of iron of a sword, man, he fucking breaks that guy's warhammer. The guy's fucking helmet flies off, and Guts fucking Spartan kicks him right in the face. And then that's whenever Guts gets picked up by Vargas, and you know, Vargas takes him into this room, and Vargas is a character where he's very mysterious. You don't know anything about him. He's just kind of like a weird little like troll looking. You know, half his face is missing. He's missing an eye. And Vargas takes Guts and Puck to this to his like little safe room. His like, you know, his little like special room where he has all these collections of these fucking fetuses in a bottle. He's got like brains, skulls, all this weird like trinkets and shit like that. Well, um, Guts in the corner of his eye sees this little trinket that for some reason means a lot to Guts, and it's called the Behelit. It's an egg, and Guts refers to it as a key to the other side is what he says, and I'll show you guys what the egg looks like. It's a very weird looking thing, but that's how the first volume ends.
you know what that
And
reminds me of though? The Behelit.
what's up?
If you remember, you ever watch Spy Kids?
No, I haven't. I have whenever I was a lot younger, but I don't remember much of it.
Well, in one of the early movies, there's these like motherfuckers that are like basically thumb people. Like they're
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. I think I know what you're talking about.
it's just weird as shit, and that's kind of like obviously the Behelit's just like a face and like a nose, but I don't know. It kind of gives me that vibe where it's just like weird like body parts where they shouldn't be. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it's just kind of
yeah.
weird looking. I don't know. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, no, it is very, very weird looking. And even, you know, Puck as a, you know, which is obviously our, you know, our shoe-in for the audience, like you were saying earlier. And he's also our comedic relief because, you know, Puck is very much needed in this dark, depressing, fucked up, you know, world where you got demons hunting Guts. He's chopping people in half. You almost need a character like Puck to exist in this world to kind of bring you back to Earth. But continuing on, Puck is kind of messing with this egg, and he's like, "Oh, what is it? What is it?" Is, you know, and then Guts tells him it's a key. It's a key to the other side, and all of a sudden, the egg just blinks, and Puck gets all freaked out, and he's like, "What the hell? What the hell's going on?" And he tells him that it's alive. You know, it's a living, breathing thing that you know, it exists. You know, it exists in our fucking weird ass dark fantasy world where Guts ends up picking up Vargas by his neck and you know, pretty much fucking off of his feet, like 4 or 3 feet off the ground, and he asks him, "Where did you get this? Where did you get this key? Or where did you get this battle rather?" And Vargas kind of explains the his whole backstory about how the Count, you know, is kind of off. He's not really human. He literally tortured Vargas, ripped out his eye, skinned his face, um, left him in a very mutilated state, and he reveals that the Count literally ate his son and wife in front of him. And there's a fucking disgusting panel of this fucking gross fat fucking king just slugging down this human down his fucking gullet. It's fucking disgusting, but it's very drawn extremely well, which makes
That's
it
why it's
disgusting.
so disturbing.
Exactly, it's very very disturbing. Well, Guts reveals that you know, um, that this key, this Behelit, um, takes them to a place where the members of the Five God Hand exist, which is basically like hell, if you will. I mean, it's not really hell; it's just kind of like another dimension, if you will. Um, and he kind of reveals kind of those are the big, big, big bads of this series, the five members of the God Hand, and you know, to me, the just the mystery just keeps getting better and richer and fucking more intriguing as you keep reading it. What did you think about the reveal of the kind of the silhouettes of the God Hand?
I thought it was pretty sick. You know, we see him later in the arc, but uh, yeah, I mean, just the silhouettes and stuff. It kind of reminds me of you know, just getting a look at those later in the series kind of villains, and I always love when a video game or a manga does that, like in One Piece when we see the silhouettes of the warlords for the first time,
Oh
and
yes,
we're like,
yeah,
who are these guys? You know what I mean? And it just that foreshadowing for like these very powerful characters that we'll see later on. I always love that kind of stuff.
yeah, dude. It's I remember seeing that, man. I was like, that was one of the biggest hooks. I was like, all right, we got a group of bosses, man. We got a group of fucking enemies that we're gonna go after. Let's go after them. You know what I mean? So it
Yeah,
just awesome, awesome reveal, or not even reveal, rather, just kind of like, I mean, it is a reveal, but it's kind of like not in a way. It's just kind of alluding to a bigger bad, which are the five members of the God Hand,
right.
and we kind of obviously get revealed more and more of Guts's backstory and his main quest that he's going after. Well, it kind of fast forwards to that big mercenary that Guts fucking Spartan kicked in the face. Well, he's kind of going mad. He's like, I want the Black Swordsman dead. He fucking broke my face, and he has all these bandages on his face. And he kind of goes mad. He starts headbutting this pillar inside of his castle, and keep in mind that's not even the Count. That's not even the king. It's kind of like his right hand man, or like I would say the commander of the ground troops rather. Well, the Count says, if you want the Black Swordsman dead, I could grant you that. I could grant you the power to do so. And he's like, well, I'll give you my daemon. And the Count opens his mouth, and this another version of his head comes out of his mouth, and it's like a slug type of like snail creature, fucking gross little centipede looking thing. And I'll just show it just to fucking get you guys on the same book that we are.
Yeah, it's
But
nasty, bro.
it's awful. It's awful. So that daemon goes inside of Lord Zondark's fucking mouth, and next thing you know, you flip a couple pages and he looks demonic. His eyes are all wide, his teeth are super sharp, and we know who Guts is gonna whoop ass here in a little bit. We got to root for our boy Guts. You know what I mean? So anyway, continuing on, Guts and Puck have that deep conversation like you were alluding to earlier about Guts kind of is feels like he's kind of like letting his doors open a little too wide, if you will, and he kind of shuts him out and says, you're a bug, you're beneath me, and it just goes back to Guts is an asshole, and you're just wondering why is he this way, and then our boy Vargas ends up telling Guts about the layout of the castle, how Vargas knows the ins and outs of this castle and stuff like that, and Guts um he's listening, and Vargas tells him, he's like, you please, you need to kill the king, you need to kill the Count. and he puts his hands on Guts, and Guts ends up fucking booting him, kicking him, like Spartan kicking him in the chest across the room, and he's like, "Don't touch me! Don't touch me! Don't ever touch me! You're below me!" and shit like that, like saying some, you know, he says, you he's like, well, Puck calls him a monster. He's like, "Guts, you're being a monster," and Guts says, "No, he's the one who's a monster. At least make yourself a little more presentable. Like you're the one who looks like a monster." And it's just like, Guts being Guts. Well, right after that little sequence, boom, the wall breaks open, and it's Lord Zondark, the commander of the ground troops, and he's in his demonic form. And this comes with one of the best parts, if not the best part of the arc, in my opinion. The battle between Guts and Zondark. Um, they're just going at it, man. They're throwing blows at each other. Guts gets his ass kicked a little bit. You know what I mean? And Guts, chops Zondark's arm off, and in a weird Akira way, or Akira, whatever you want to call it, his arm starts growing into another like weird, like fucking stringy, disgusting arm that like ends up growing these like weird blades, and starts swinging them around in like a whip. And this is why Puck is such a great character in this first arc,
Almost
because
kind
he's
of
kind
like Parasite.
absolutely, very much so, very very much so. It's like a mix between Tetsuo from Akira
Hmm.
and Parasite. And so that's, like I was saying, Puck is such a good character in this arc because he's like you were saying, the shoe-in for the audience, but he's kind of letting the audience know he's like the comedic reveal, or relief rather. And as Zondark is swinging around this arm with these blades on it like a whip, Puck says he's swinging it so fast the human eye can't, or eyes can't perceive how fast he's even going. And as he's swinging it, Puck says, but Guts is blocking every hit. And Guts, you could see the art where his sword is up here, his sword is down here, his sword is here, his sword is here, and he's just blocking these hits, like an absolute fucking boss. And Puck even says, he's like, Guts isn't just a swordsman, he's the master swordsman. And
Yeah,
it's just
bro.
like, just fucking, oh
And you
my
gotta think
god,
how
it's so
fucking huge this thing is too, and how
oh,
heavy it is, and with such right there. But with the amount of speed that he's doing it, it's insane.
incredible, man. Like, just a complete display of how good of a swordsman Guts is. I mean, he's been using a sword since he was a literal baby. Um, just shows how far he's came. I mean, obviously we don't know at the time, but that whole part, man. What did you think about that whole part as it was unfolding? Because it kind of happens really fast. Like, you get the reveal of the Behlit, you get the reveal of the God Hand, and then you end up getting the battle between Lord Zondark and Guts, and just how that whole thing plays out. Because their fight kind of goes on almost right up until the Count versus Guts.
So as far as that fight goes, I mean it was really cool. Like I said, with like Zondark regrowing that arm with like the blades and stuff, it very much reminded me of Parasite. And it's moments like those, and like with the Baron with the slug and stuff, that you're reminded that this isn't just like a fantasy story. It's very horror oriented too, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
very grotesque imagery and stuff that's very uncomfortable. And there's just a mix of a bunch of different things, even like some like sci-fi elements to it, like a sci-fi horror kind of deal, that reminiscent of some shit like Dead Space or something like that. Like
Oh
there's
yeah, that's
just
a great
like
comparison for
weird
sure.
weird mutations and stuff like that, like
Like,
or Resident Evil, even like with the T virus, like
dude, or like the Los Plagas. Whenever you
yeah,
shoot their head off,
yes, yeah,
dude, great comparison, fantastic.
shit like that. It reminds you that this is like a weird, it's fantasy, but there's like horror and a little bit of sci-fi elements to it as well, which I mean is right up my alley. I dig that, and it's such a cool mixture and display of all of those different aspects. And on different panels you can point out and see different inspirations and different tropes and like different aesthetics, I guess. Like different types of not mediums, but you know what I'm talking about. Different genres, different types of genre
Absolutely.
storytelling. It's really neat. Um, and I think that battle in particular is really cool because at this point you see Guts swinging around the sword, cutting people in half, and it almost makes you feel like maybe he's just like swinging it around. You know, he's just kind of lugging this big ass sword. But it's not
Yeah.
really up until this fight where it's illustrated that wait a second, this isn't just some big brute swinging around this big piece of iron. He is masterfully doing this. Like, he is a master swordsman. He has skill behind what he's doing. He's not just aimlessly swinging around a big ass sword. You know what I mean? And
Dude,
it lets you know that Guts is
fucking good.
so much more of a badass than you thought before.
Yeah, dude, it is like just, dude, I can't even get this smile off my fucking face. That fight is fucking awesome for that reason. Like, I never even thought about that. Like, at first, you just see him fuck, boom, boom, just, swinging this big old hunk of, you know, metal around. But it's literally, like you said, up until that battle that you realize you're like, holy fuck, he's not just a swordsman, he's a master fucking swordsman. Just, boom, boom. Oh my god, it's
Yeah, yeah.
fucking, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
awesome, bro.
yeah, it's fantastic. Um, so the fight continues on, and Guts ends up, hitting out the pillars that support that little shack that Vargas is in. Then the whole shack kind of, falls down on Zondark, and that's kind of that. He's dead pretty much, and you continue on with, uh, the departure with Vargas and Guts, where, he's like, give me that Behelit. You know what I mean? He's like, it's a down payment for me killing the Count. And he's like, all right. And then fucking, poor Vargas. I really, really liked Vargas. He was, just such a sweetheart, man. Like, he was just trying to, even though he was kind of like driven by, by fear of the Count, you know what I mean? He still like was loyal to like Guts and Puck. He was still like, he treated them with like hospitality and stuff like that. He brought him into his home, and he showed him all of his stuff, even though it might have been out of revenge for wanting to kill the Count. He was still like a true, you know, kind of character. I wouldn't say he's like, a villain or a good guy, but he's, just I just really enjoyed that character, man. I did really feel bad for him.
And that's what's cool about series like this too. Like you just said, you don't know if he's a villain or a good guy, but he's doing what's necessary. You know what I mean? Very morally gray, and that's what makes Berserk really cool. Despite all these fantastical and grotesque elements to it, at its very core, it's a character study, and it's very grounded, and it's just not there isn't a clear cut good and evil necessarily. I mean, there is sometimes, but when you take a look at like just these basic everyday kind of people, it's like what would a realistic person do, or like what would they have to do being put in a fucked up situation like this that's so over the
Yeah,
top, and it's like what are they willing to do, you know what I mean? And I think that's really cool about Vargas. I did like Vargas as well, and that also another one of those elements, right? It's where appearances can be deceiving, and that's one of the things that I think about Berserk, and that I think is a big theme throughout, just based on what I know about Berserk. Like I was talking about Guts and Griffith before, I think Vargas is another good example where he looks like this gross little goblin dude because he's all fucked up, but then you learn about why he looks that way, and he is very hospitable and treats Guts and Puck with respect, despite Guts being a douche to him in his own home. You know what I mean?
like fucking complete asshole to him.
Right. He
Like
he he.
calling him a monster and shit like that, and Puck's like, "Oh, don't worry," and Vargas is like, "No, no, it's okay. I know, I look like a fucking monster." So
Right.
it's just like, yeah, I
It's
get what you're
another
saying.
one of those things, right? Looks can be deceiving, and that's a theme that I do really dig so far. And like I said, what I know about Berserk.
Yeah, for sure. Just fucking masterclass. Like, how old is Kentaro Miura during this, like, 19, 18, like
Was he
17.
really?
Dude, he was really, really young whenever he started Berserk.
I did not
I'm
know that.
I'm pretty sure. You know what? Let me look this up before I fucking end up butchering this, because I'm pretty sure he was young.
Because what, he was like 55 or 52 when he died, right?
Yes, yes. He was.
So 89, that would put him
Let's
like
see.
probably early 20s. You're probably in the ballpark. I don't know if he was. I could be wrong, but
Yeah, I can't find it exactly, but he was definitely younger than. Yeah, because he made his first manga at 10.
damn,
Yeah, dude. So he was definitely in the
he was
space.
probably like 22 or something like that. Like in that, he had to have been between like 19 and 22. Like still
Yeah,
very young.
yeah, dude, and like to be presenting you these complex characters with fucking just absolute fucking talent, man.
That's
Just
what makes
sheer
manga
talent.
so cool, man. I mean, Western comics are cool too, but when you look at the creators, a lot of times these guys do the story and the art, and you, it's two different, completely different skills. Like, believe me, I'm somebody who likes to write in my free time and tell stories. I can't draw for shit, man. Like, I would like to think that I can tell a cool story and like I have a lot of ideas, but drawing and writing are two completely different ball games, man. And it just really like with mangaka in particular, and creators and comic creators like Daniel Warren Johnson, who are definitely almost kind of like mangaka in the way that they handle their work. Um, it's just so skillful, man. It
Oh,
when
it's
you
impressive.
put it into perspective like that, it's these guys are insane, man.
And then the speed that they're dropping these. I know this came out at Animal magazine, or no,
Young
I think it's
Animal.
Animal. Young Animal magazine monthly. I mean, dude, still it's impressive. But like these like Chainsaw Man, and even stuff like One Piece that come out literally weekly is fucking insane, dude. Like
Yeah.
in fucking incredible. Um, any more thoughts on that?
Nah, man. You're good to continue.
Sounds good, bro. So then you move on with Vargas and Guts and Puck, kind of departing from each other, with Guts getting that Behelit that he really wanted from you know, Vargas saying that, this is down payment for me killing the Count. But then you see Vargas get taken away by that arm that Zondark fucking has grown out of him. It's like super long, super thin at this point, and he ends up dragging Vargas down into the water. And you kind of don't really know what happens to him until we'll get to that. But Guts goes on, man, and he starts like kind of he's sitting there, he's repairing his arm, he's kind of repairing his hand, and because he has a metal arm,
That's the
obviously.
part that I was thinking of earlier.
Yes, yes, and he's like holding his eye, and he's just thinking about his past, and you're kind of wondering like, what is he thinking about, man? What is he thinking about? And he starts thinking about Vargas, and how he was like, he sliced my eye off, or he sliced my face off. He tore my eye out. And Guts fucking stands up and he punches the wall, and he says, I'm not weak. I'm not weak like you. I won't be weak like you. And he's like, I'm nothing like you. And he's like, I won't lose. He's like, I will succeed. And from that point, you kind of fast forward to Puck seeing the Count overseeing an execution going on from obviously like a heretic that the Count thinks. And Puck comes back and he's like, well, sorry, I kind of jumped that right there. Puck sees Vargas on that guillotine. Vargas is about to get his head chopped off. And Puck goes back to Guts and he's like, yo, we got to go save Vargas. We got to go save him. You know what I mean? We have to, he was our friend. You got to go save him. And Guts is already there watching it. And Guts says, she's like, or not she, Puck goes up to him and he's like, oh, you came to save, Vargas. You came to save Vargas. And he's like, no, I didn't. He's like, I came to watch him die. I came, you know what I mean? Like just fucking incredible. He's like, I just came to watch him die. Look, you think I'm so noble? I'll just walk right into their trap. If you're so worried about it, why don't you go save him? He tells Puck, and Puck's like, well, I can't just not do anything about it. So he ends up going, or before he goes, he starts saying his emotions. His emotions are pouring into me like a river of hot magma. And he starts saying, it burns, dark and violent emotions pouring into me, self-hating, destructive, burning like hot magma. Is this the source of Guts' strength? And that's whenever you kind of realize that, like, oh shit, yeah, his rage is so fucking high. It's so
And
heavy that
sadness. That's
and
another
sadness.
important part.
Well, yeah, Puck. I keep saying she. Puck tells the reader, he's like, um, Guts, are you afraid? Like in his mind, like is Guts afraid? And then that's whenever Puck tells him like, you are afraid that you're also fighting a losing battle. You don't want to admit that you're just like him. Um, and then Guts says, you talk too much. You know that. Where does an elf get off talking like a human? And you can see that panel of Puck crying. And that's whenever Puck bites Guts' hand and he flies up to go save Vargas. Um, and then poor Puck, he tries his hardest, but he ends up you know failing, obviously, because he's just a little tiny little elf compared to this these normal sized humans. You know what I mean? And yeah, Vargas sure enough gets his head chopped off, and then it continues by revealing this girl at like the top of this castle. And she's kind of just like up there overseeing everything. And it turns out that it's actually the count's daughter. Her name is Teresia, and she's locked in this room, uh, you know, for a very like for 7 years, I think it's what it says, right?
Something like that.
And then it cuts to Guts, and he's at this graveyard looking for Vargas's head for some reason. I don't know why, but that's whenever it's getting revealed that the Count is kind of just killing these humans just to kill him. They're like, he's changed. He's just there's a lot of bodies this week, and all of a sudden, Guts fucking kills those guys, and all these souls start coming out of these bodies, and they end up possessing Guts. And Guts like literally turns into a fucking demon. He's like fucking laughing, super sharp teeth. His eyes are all white, and he fucking just screams like no. And he's like, I'm nothing like you guys. You're dead, all of you. This is my fight. Mine, a person of flesh and blood. You're nothing but worthless scum. Get away from me, carcasses. He's like, that's right. I'll do it myself. I'll kill the Count with my very own flesh and blood. And that's whenever you get Guts is on his way to go kill the Count, and he's going up these stairs, and you kind of get the rematch of Zondark and Guts. But before that, you get Puck. Puck gets captured after trying to save Vargas, and Puck gets put into the same room as Teresia, and that's whenever you find out that Teresia has been stuck in the room for 7 years, and like basically like a cage, just like Puck is right now. And they kind of have a heart to heart, and Puck ends up seeing Guts down in the castle grounds, tearing up all these fucking people and stuff like that. And then finally, Guts gets to have his rematch with Zondark, and that's whenever they're up on the stairs. Remember that part?
Yeah.
Where Guts is going up the stairs, and then Zondark comes down, and they end up just having a full out fucking Duke fest, man. They just start going at it, and Guts kind of displays his he's not just good with his sword, man. He'll fucking pull his crossbow out. He'll throw his knives at you. He'll fucking he's a tactical beast as well. He's not just a brute, but he's also great at thinking of different ways to defeat these different demons. And yeah, the arting is just fucking incredible, and it just gets more and more intense. And Guts ends up finally killing Zondark, and that Damon that was possessing Zondark before ends up saying before he kills Guts kills him, he's like, I'll be waiting for you up at the top of these stairs. I'll be waiting for you. And as they're battling, Zondark says, he's like, the only way you could kill me is if you chop off my head. And fucking Guts fucking right in the head of Zondark, and he's like, thanks for the tip. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then finally the head starts like growing tentacles, and this part was fucking crazy because he's like the head starts growing tentacles on his big ass sword, and Guts just like a bat fucking boom slaps it across the wall, and that's whenever the rematch between Zondark and Guts ends right there, and Guts is on his way to fight the final boss, which is the Count. What do you think about that fight going up the stairs, bro? I really thought that one was almost. I didn't think it was as good as their first battle, because it wasn't such a display of Guts's fucking mastery with the sword, but still fucking awesome, man. I really enjoyed it. What did you think about it?
Um. Yeah. No. I dug it. I especially liked how he finished it off with like having his head on the sword and just like slamming
Boom.
it on the side of the wall.
Yeah.
It almost like that part in particular reminded me of like a I don't know, like a zombie flick or something, where like there'll be like a zombie that's like still alive. They thought it was dead, and just to make sure, some character will like stomp on its head and like splatter, just like big, like very gross, like splattery kills in like a zombie movie or something like that. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely, for
That
sure.
it definitely gave me that kind of vibe. But before we continue, I did want to backtrack just a moment.
Okay.
Um, so going back to Vargas's death, one of the things that I kind of picked out, uh, and you know how Guts is looking at him, and then or he's talking to Puck, and I forget exactly what's happening, but he's basically saying I'm nothing like you, talking about Vargas. I think the reason why that is because oh shit. Hold on. I accidentally pressed something on my screen. Whoops.
All
Okay.
good, brother.
No, we're good. Um, he, I think he sees Vargas in himself, and that's why he hates. He doesn't hate Vargas. He just hates the idea of Vargas because he sees Vargas and he sees him. You know, he knows Vargas is helpless in his situation, and it reminds him of how, you know, I mean, obviously, I know what happens to a certain point in Berserk. Reminds him of how hopeless or helpless he was in a certain situation, and he talks about how he was mutilated, like Vargas. I'm talking about was like mutilated and stuff, and he lost his eye, and it reminds you again of Guts. Why is he missing an arm? You know what I mean? Like he sees Vargas, and it reminds him of himself. And I don't think he hates Vargas. I think he kind of hates himself in a way. You know what I mean? And seeing Vargas brings back that trauma, and that's why he's saying, I'm nothing like you." He's trying to convince himself, that he's better, but him and Vargas are more similar than he wants to admit.
Mhm.
You get what I'm
That's a
saying?
great. No, absolutely, because you know, at the end of the day, Guts is a human, man, and he's fighting a battle for the rest of his life against these constant growing of these demons and these souls and these ghosts and shit like that. And in a way, Guts is very helpless, against this fucking ever-growing army of demons, like a one-man army that Guts is. um you know Guts kind of feels like, what the fuck can he do besides just fucking cleave his way through all of it? And Guts doesn't want to, obviously plead for help or ask anyone for fucking help because it's his war, it's his battle. And for Vargas to be like, I want you to kill the Count because I can't. Guts is like, Guts almost like gets where he's coming from, but he's like, I'm not like you. I'm gonna fucking do this battle myself, like a person of flesh and blood, like he said earlier. But like you're saying, they definitely do have those similarities because at the end of the day, even though Vargas's battle wasn't as grand and as big as Guts's, um, they're still almost fighting the same battle of being helpless in this fucking world of you know, where they feel like they can't succeed.
Well,
I get what you're saying for
well, think
sure.
about it this way, right? Guts knows that the Count obviously took something from Vargas and mutilated him and all that, right? And so for Vargas to ask Guts to go kill the Count and help him do that, I think reminded Guts like of the situation he was once in where somebody took something from him, and it reminds him of how helpless he was in that situation that he was once in. And Vargas is basically in that same situation. He sees this little frail, mutilated guy, and Guts looks at him, and it's a mirror, and he sees himself when he looks at Vargas. That's just kind of the way that I interpreted that.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like as such a small part Vargas has, I think that's kind of the point. I mean, obviously, like, um, from what you know of Berserk and from what I know, looking, obviously it's not, like I just said, we know a little bit more. You probably wouldn't catch that on your first read through, but with your knowledge of what the series is, it's kind of like they definitely do. Like Guts is definitely looking at a mirror of a person that's helpless and just looking for fucking help. You know what I mean? But Guts is so, you know, stuck in his way that he's just like trying to fucking cope. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He's like, dude, I am nothing like you, which in reality they're very not very, but they are similar in a lot of ways.
And that's one thing that I really like about, since this talk we're having now, I haven't really examined Berserk like that before. Like, if you read even this first deluxe edition, or like the first 3 volumes, the first arc, you read it and it just seems, if you read it at face value, it's very surface level. Like, you're like, okay, this is cool and shit, but not much happens. But if you're actually like take a second and like I guess it does take a little bit of knowledge about Berserk to really go back and like pick it apart like I am, because obviously I know what happens through the Golden Age to an extent, and of course the Eclipse, stuff like that. I know what happens, so I'm able to look at it from a slightly different lens. But like this first arc is so much more complex than it is at face value, like just reading it for the first time, knowing absolutely nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
It's almost like it's a completely different story, which is really cool.
yeah. Which is, I mean, back to what we were saying earlier. The dude is like, you know, a very young mangaka, and just for him to have this, like, dude, like this fucking laid out plan of like this entire story, and just he knows, like it's not like Iraqi where he plants a seed and he's like, well, let's see where this fucking goes. It's like it's meticulously like told to the reader. You could either read it at face value, which everyone does at one point. You read it for the first time, you read it at its face value, but like knowing what little you do know and what I know, it's like very, very much in line with shit that happens fucking years and years and years later in its time of publication. You know what I mean? So it's like fucking impressive, man. Like I'm not a storyteller, like I'm not even a drawer, but it's just I could definitely fucking that is talent, man.
Yeah,
Talent. It's
the amount of
fucking
foresight
impressive.
needed to do that.
Oh, dude, and just like whenever we get later on in the series, all the foreshadowing that you're picking up, there's more. Like there's fucking more, and
There's
it's
stuff that I'm missing in this arc.
still absolutely. I'm sure there's shit that I'm missing as well. But fuck, man, it's such a good arc, and that's why I felt like we needed to do this, you know, episode on just this arc alone, because there's a lot of like with what you know and what I know, there's a lot of fucking foreshadowing, a lot of fucking, um, you know, really shit stuff that we could dissect, like Vargas, for instance. You know what I mean? Like just
Well, I think
awesome.
it's funny you say that because I think about how I had originally wanted to do this, uh, wrap it in with the Golden Age, and I mean you're absolutely right, man. I was thinking about this arc, the Black Swordsman. I was thinking back to when I originally read it for the first time years ago, and in that moment I read it at face value, like how I'm talking about. And so, because it seems so surface level, if we were just talking about what happens, we absolutely could tie it in with Golden Age. Um, but now that we're actually breaking it down and talking about the foreshadowing and stuff, you're absolutely right. It definitely uh, deserved its own episode.
Yeah, for sure, bro. And I'm like, I wasn't trying to like prove you wrong or anything, but like it really definitely does. Like, there's just so much character study in this certain section of Guts's of life that there's just fucking so much to break down. And you know, even your insight with the other characters besides Guts himself, like Vargas, Puck, and just there's so much fucking deep shit in this arc, man. That you know, kind of rehashing, echoing what we were saying earlier, that you don't catch on that first read, that surface level, that face value read. Um, because at the end of the day, you're just watching some badass asshole kill some fucking demons, and it's dope.
Right.
But once you get the picture of, you know, why he's here, it completely fucking changes the way you look at this arc, and it's impressive, dude. Very
Yeah.
fucking impressive.
Absolutely.
So continuing on, we got fucking the Guts and you know, Vargas or not Vargas, Guts and Zondark rematch. Guts obviously wins, and then we start getting into Teresia and Puck's little like banter between the two of them. You kind of learn that 7 years ago that the Count was, you know, a lot different. He was a normal person, and then there was something that happened to him that we will figure out later that changed him into this weird, um, fucking weird ass person, weird ass demon. I don't know. I mean, we don't know that it's a demon at the time. Obviously, we do, but Teresia doesn't.
Yeah.
And so we continue on with Guts finally gets to the courtyard with, you know, the big old count. And before he gets there, you got some more trash mobs that Guts needs to get through, all these little ground level characters. And
It's
Guts
very
makes
much
fucking.
like a video game, man. Like I never thought about that
It
until
is.
you said
It
it, but now that you're going through it, man, we're getting to that boss dungeon and we're like
is.
we're we're
Yeah, yeah.
we're, we're cleaning up the mobs outside the boss dungeon. Like, no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's fucking awesome, man, because who doesn't want to see Guts fucking rip these dudes fucking in half with just one swipe? It's awesome.
Yeah,
It's cool. It's dope. Because you get that, that medieval aspect of it as well, where you get these knights versus this one guy, which is cool. But then you also get that dark fantasy Bloodborne-esque type shit with these fucking weird, like alien fucking zombie looking creatures that just it just satisfies both parts of that brain, in my opinion.
absolutely, man.
And then you get like just some cool ass scenes where Guts is blocking all of their fucking arrows with it, just that because his sword is so big that it blocks his entire body. So he just puts his sword in front of him and just all those arrows go out to his sword and he blocks them,
Real quick
which is
though,
dope.
Cameron, just a
What's up, brother?
question: when you read Berserk, do you do sound effects in your head?
Oh, dude, for sure. Cause I'm hearing the fucking cling clang like type
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
I know you're reading it through the deluxe edition, and I wish cause I take these to work and I'll read them at
Mm.
work and stuff like that. And these early tankobons don't have translation for these.
Oh, okay.
So I'm kind of trying to make up the sound effects for myself, but obviously whenever I get to the translations that have the localization of those different sound effects, I just try to make them up in my head because I'm like almost reading it as if it's like a fucking movie or
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah.
like that.
Very cinematic.
Oh, dude, that's such a good word to fucking, such a great way to describe Berserk. It's just fucking cinematic, and
Well,
especially with this first arc.
well, you were talking about the arrows, like bouncing off the sword and stuff. It reminded me like when he has the crossbow and he's shooting the arrows, and like there's that part where it hits one of the knights in the head, like three arrows in his head, and he's like, oh, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I just in my head when I'm reading it, I'm like thunk thunk thunk,
No,
like
that's the exact sound. I'll be like, dum, 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 dum,
yeah,
dum,
yeah.
dum, just, dude,
Or like
fucking,
when it bounces off the sword, just be like ting ting. You know what I mean? Like
yup,
I
yup, yeah,
I'd be
dude.
making sound effects in my head as I'm reading it. So I was just
Yeah.
curious.
No, no, absolutely, bro. Because it's like a fuck. It's so cinematic. It's like almost hard not to be like if you're into it and you're reading it. It's like a movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and you know, it's something an anime still. I mean, the 97 version is still great,
Hmm.
but it's obviously dated. But just something this, you know, this manga just can't be adapted almost exactly the way you know obviously we would want it, but
Right.
it's a very hard um thing to adapt. Um anyway, but we get on to the next. There's like almost a sub boss that is more powerful than Lord Zondark, and Guts literally cuts him in half in one panel. They
Yeah.
hype him up, and Guts fucking, boom, just fucking chops him in half in one panel, and it's fucking awesome, beautiful art. And he doesn't just cut him in half; he breaks the entire pillar in half as well.
Oh
Um,
yeah, man.
so yeah,
That's
it's just
so
it's epic,
sick.
man. Yeah, it's so fucking awesome. And then eventually, finally, Guts gets to um the count, but before then, uh, Puck is like, "Hey, Teresia, I'll be back for you. Don't worry, I need to go find my friend Guts." And it's cool because Puck is obviously mistreated by Guts a fucking shitload, and
Right.
you feel bad for Puck, but Puck is an elf. Elves have immense loyalty to their friends and stuff like that, obviously. So he goes after him, and finally we get the battle between the big bad and Guts, and Guts opens up with this fucking move where you're kind of like, what the fuck's going on? He fucking stabs the ground, and the count's like, ooh, good fucking counter, because the count is like literally huge, and he's under the fucking floor, like these stone panels of this floor, and Guts fucking, he knows, man, he knows this guy's fucking huge, he knows his nature, and he fucking counters him like that. And this battle just goes from 0 to 100 real fucking fast because the count um, just turns into this um well, he's an apostle, you know what I mean? So he's literally a fucking, he goes from this humanoid type character to a fucking, just like the Snake Baron at the very beginning of this arc, where the Snake Baron is in this kind of armor where it looks like a snake, but then whenever Guts really fucking fights him, damages him, he's an apostle, so he fucking becomes his demon form. And those demons are known as apostles in
So
this story, and
I
there's
have a
a
quick
lot of.
question about that. So are all of the demons called apostles, or are the apostles only the like really powerful ones?
The apostles are the only the powerful ones. Like, do you know who Zod is?
The weird like I said monster looking guy, but like the yes, yeah, like the werewolf
He's like,
looking dude, kinda. He almost
he's
looks
like
like a
a,
lion or something.
yeah, he's an apostle.
Okay,
So the big bads are apostles, but these like low level fucking enemies are just kind of, they're just demons.
gotcha. So the apostles, like we see with the count, can make other people like low tier demons, but like they themselves are like actual like demons.
Yeah, they're like real hardcore. They're like the bosses basically. They're
Gotcha.
like fucking, with apostles, they have their kind of humanoid form, which is the count, sitting in his big ass throne, and then he becomes the big demon. So those apostles have their transformations.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so then Guts fucking ends up fighting this literal like blob of uh of a fucking creature, and
So
yeah, it's just
nasty.
kind of, yeah, it's disgusting. It's really gross. So they end up just duking it out, man, and Guts ends up getting thrown around and the shit kicked out of him pretty much. And as they're battling, the apostle is so big, the count is so big that he starts bringing down his entire fucking castle. So then it prompts Teresia's door to be opened from her room. And Teresia is really hesitant. She's like, do I, should I go out? Because she's been wanting to break free from this cage for 7 years, poor thing. And she finally gets the opportunity to. Well, the Count is kind of keeping his fucking demon form away from Teresia because he just wants the love from his daughter. And she's kind of fucking weirded out by him because he is a creepy, disgusting fucking weirdo that looks weird already. And on top of that, he's just a fucking just a freak, killing these innocent people because he thinks they're heretics. Um, well, anyway, they're battling Guts and the counter battling, and Teresia walks in and sees her father as this fucking demon apostle. And she gets freaked out, and the count's like, no, Teresia, no, don't run, you know what I mean, like this isn't me and shit like that. Well, she ends up running, and Guts is fucking knocked out at this point. He's real damaged, and I think I might be fast forwarding a little bit, but as they're battling, Guts ends up fucking grabbing Teresia as like kind of like a counter, because Guts is about to die. Basically, the count is about to kill him, and Guts fucking grabs Teresia and pulls her around his body like that, and the count's not gonna kill his daughter, so he ends up backing off and using her as kind of like a like a weapon almost in a way against the count. And eventually Guts ends up cutting off Guts' arm is broken, his hand is broken, so he can't use his sword in his dominant hand, so he ends up sticking his sword in his fucking mouth, this big ass fucking hunk of iron in his mouth.
On some Zorro type shit.
Dude, exactly. So then he's like holding up his like the sharp part of his blade with his metal arm, and he's holding the fucking hilt in his mouth, and he fucking runs and he cuts off half of the count's face. And knowing from what Zondark, that battle with Zondark, he kind of told Guts the way to kill him. You cut off my head, you pierce my heart, and that's how you kill me. So half of the fucking apostle's face is on the floor, and the count starts pleading for his life, like, please don't kill me, please don't kill me, please. And then you see a drop of blood fall on the Behelit, and the Behelit starts fucking screaming, and you're kind of like, what the fuck's gonna happen? Well, Guts, Teresia, Puck, and the count all get transported into this weird demonic dimension, and there's upside down staircases, there's right side up staircases, but
It's pretty sick.
It's awesome, dude. And it's like set on this crazy vista, and I know there's a panel that I'm gonna show. Let me see if I can find it. It's just insane, the type of art. It's fucking beautiful.
It feels like almost like a arena in a fighting game.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely does give off that vibe for sure. That's it right there. It's pretty intense because you're kind of just like, you're already hooked on this battle. You want to know what the fuck happens, and then this shit happens. It's just like, dude, I fucking am so in for this ride. Well, I was at least. But eventually, the 5 members of the God Hand pop out, and you're like, holy shit, here we go. We finally get to see these big bads, and they finally get to reveal their face. You got Void, Slan, Ubek. I forget the other fucking dude with the glasses name, and then you got Femto, and they exactly. Then Guts starts fucking screaming Griffith at this dude named Femto, and you're kind of like, oh shit. And even Puck says, as the shoe-in for the audience, he's like, what kind of backstory do these guys have? What kind of history do these guys have? Well, you don't really get your question answered on that, but you start getting why the count was brought into this weird ass demonic like state. And so this egg, the Behelit, is a key to that different dimension. And
Question
with the God
real
Hand.
quick. Was it at that scene or a little bit later when you get that flashback to the Golden Age? Because there
was
is a
before
part.
that.
Okay, because there is a part where you kind of get a little bit of a look at.
It was actually in the middle of that scene where you see
like Griffith.
Like, young Gus Griffith at the beginning. Yeah. So yeah, you get that scene where you're kind of like, well, like the God Hand gets introduced, and you kind of get this hint that Guts and this guy Femto or Griffith have like a backstory. Well, it flashes forward to whenever Guts was a child, and this angelic, blonde-haired, white-haired dude helps Guts up from a battle, and it gets revealed that guy Griffith is Femto, and it shows it really cool with this panel that I'm trying to find, that it has like a side-by-side comparison with obviously Femto being right here and Griffith being right there. So Are they the same person? And you're kind of like hooked on just that alone.
I have an idea that it just clicked with me. Is okay. Maybe I shouldn't word it as a question because I don't know that I want the answer. But my idea is that Femto is Griffith's like apostle form. Maybe. I
Maybe,
guess I'll just
maybe.
have to read and find out.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get there. We're definitely gonna get there. So, um, yeah, you get an inkling that these two dudes have a past, and it kind of gives you a glimpse that they do. They were old school, mercenaries together, and that's kind of all you really get. And then you start getting into the Count's backstory to where you figure out why he's this demon, and it turns out that he loved his wife and his daughter Teresia very very much, and one day he came back from this battlefield battling and you know pillaging all these different cities and stuff like that, and you find out that whenever the Count came home, his wife was in a, how do I say it, a demonic orgy with all these fucking, it like they describe it where it's like a sea of skin,
Yeah,
where
we
there's these
probably
girls.
can't show that.
Yeah, no, we're definitely not gonna show that, but I'm sure if you're watching this, you just want to hear our reactions to this blind read through. But yeah, there at the pillar of it, there's this weird, um,
Like Baphomet.
like, yeah, is that the name of what
It,
that
it's
creature is
usually
called?
yeah when you I mean I think it goes back to like Hebrew mythology or something like that. I don't exactly remember, but usually when you see like the weird goat head with the horns and stuff like that, and it's doing the whole like pose like this, like
Yeah.
it's usually like the Baphomet. That's what they call it.
Okay, so the Baphomet, is that like the pillar of this fucking demonic orgy that's happening? Um, and it's revealed that the Count's wife was at the peak, having sex with this fucking weird goat head, thing, and she's in complete ecstasy, is what the book says, and it's just a very uncomfortable, fucking weird part that really displays the dark fantasy, horror aspect of it, very, very well. And the Count goes into a blind rage and ends up massacring the entire room, killing more than 20 different people, men and women. And that's whenever he says, you know, he takes the Behelit and he's in complete despair, so he summons the God Hand, and the God Hand um, made him give them a sacrifice, and that sacrifice was his wife. And whenever you give a sacrifice to these God Hand members, they make you into a demon, an apostle, and that's how the Count became all demonic and freaky, and that's how he has that big ass weird fucking slug form. And that's kind of the backstory of that. Well, the entire time while they're retelling that story, Teresia is watching the entire fucking thing, and she knows everything. She's completely not blind anymore about it. And the whole time that story is being told, Guts is completely, his brand is pouring fucking blood, like spewing fucking blood. Well, he tells Puck, he's like, heal me, because Puck is a fairy. They have fairy dust where they can heal wounds and stuff like that. And he's like, heal me. He's like, heal me now, heal me now. So then Puck fucking heals him, and Guts stands up and he goes to fucking swing at this femto guy. And as he goes, he fucking is walking up these stairs, and as he goes to swing, his fucking thing just starts fucking spewing blood out of his brand, and he kind of gets they reveal that the lower level demons will feel like a pinprick, but the more and more evolved the demons are, it could kill you. It could kill the branded person. Like literally, I could literally end their life right then and there. Well, Guts is so driven by his rage and so driven by his revenge that he still swings it anyway. And right before he can touch Femto, he gets blasted away. Um, like force powers type shit, like Star Wars. And then uh the main void is the god hand member's name with the big old brain and the sewed eyes. He starts saying like like he points into that big old abyss, and he's like, "That's hell. That's hell. That's where all the dark souls like go."
Dark
Exactly.
Souls.
Exactly. No, they literally says Dark Souls. Did you see? Did you catch that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So he's like,
When I read it, you know the meme with Peter Griffin, and he's like, he said it. He said it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So he's like, that's the sea of dark souls. And he's like, that's where all of the sacrifices go. That's where all the people that did wrong go, and it's hell. And all of a sudden, this big old arm, um, well, the count. He's like, I want the Black Swordsman dead. I want the Black Swordsman dead. He's like, I need him dead right now. And he's like, well, we can. The God had tell him, well, we could do that, but we need a sacrifice. And he's like, I want to sacrifice the Black Swordsman. He's like, then the God hand kind of explained that a sacrifice needs to be something that you love and hold very, very dearest to you. And he looks at his daughter Teresia, and he couldn't do it. He couldn't sacrifice her. And that's whenever Void reveals that those souls, those dark souls from hell,
Hold
come
on,
after anyone that's branded.
1 second. I'm sorry, bro.
No problem, brother.
All right. Sorry about that, bro.
No, not a problem, brother. Not a problem.
Where were you
So
saying?
yeah, that's whenever Void reveals that you know, that the Dark Souls, whoever is exposed to, evil and stuff like that, that's where they end up. Well, this big old like assembly line of demons that are like all fused together, all very, very gross, come out, and they go to grab anyone that has either sacrificed someone or has been branded, or obviously that is evil. Well, these people start grabbing the count, and they fucking pull him in to this, whirl of just evil fucking souls, people and stuff like that. And that's whenever Guts looks at the fucking string of humans, and he sees Vargas in that string of people, and he's like, holy shit, what the fuck? Well, since Guts is branded, they start pulling him down as well. Well,
So wait,
Guts is getting pulled away. Sorry, what's up?
the part that I didn't understand is why Vargas was in hell. Was he branded?
We don't know. He might have been a bad guy.
Hmm.
So yeah, he wasn't branded or anything like that, but he might have just been a bad person, an evil person, I guess, or something. He might have, I don't know,
Huh.
but he was in there.
Yeah,
And
that's why I was confused when I saw him in there. I didn't. I was just wondering.
it's kind of like really fast, or you could miss it. Honestly, it's like within one tiny little small panel of a half a page, and you're kind of just like, what the fuck, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
no, it's not really explained why he's there. But then Guts starts getting pulled into the swirl of Dark Souls as well, and Guts being Guts, he's got a plan, and he's gonna find his way out of it. And he ends up, pulling with his mouth his cannonball and fucking blasting himself. The blast radius is so heavy, um, that he ends up falling out of the swirl of Dark Souls, and that's whenever, boom, you get snapped back into the real world. You're not in that other dimension anymore, and it's just Guts, Puck, and Teresia. And Teresia is like it's all because of you. And she's talking to Guts. Like, it's all because of you this happened. It's all because you came that I left my room, and that everything went wrong because when you went here. And she's like something like, I don't want to be alive anymore. And he's like, go ahead, kill yourself. And Puck is like, what the fuck? Like, why would you say that? Why would you say that? And even Teresia is like taken back by it. And you know, Puck says like, don't you know in the least what has happened to Teresia and stuff like that? And then Guts tells her like, there's a dagger right there. Go ahead and end it. And he's like, it's your life. Do what you want with it. And Teresia goes to actually cut her arm, and before she can, the little pillar, like the little piece of like the little piece of castle that she's sitting on, starts breaking. And you would think that Guts, being an asshole like he is, let her fall and let her die, but Guts ends up holding out his fucking sword and letting her grab onto it, and she's cutting her hands on the sword, and finally Guts lifts her up, pulls her out, and she just starts screaming like, "I'll kill you! I'll kill you! Um, uh, this is all because you. I'll kill you." And Guts says, "Fine, I'm ready whenever you are." And just like, fuck, man. And Guts keeps walking, and that's whenever you finally get my favorite panel of this entire arc is the one of Guts crying, showing the biggest crack in his character that we've seen so far, which he's actually showing emotion. He's crying because of what just happened and the the pain that he caused Teresia, and not only that, but the death of Vargas and
Or
all of that
possibly
stuff.
even just the appearance of Femto was bringing back some stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And you could just see it in his face that, he's not just this fucking asshole. He's human. He's got emotions. He feels. And that's where we wrap up the whole Black Swordsman arc, and we continue on to the Golden Age arc. And I want to actually, we should probably cut off. We should probably just wait to talk about the Golden Age arc until we actually get to that episode itself.
Okay.
Um, and just contain this as the whole Black Swordsman itself. But that concludes the whole Black Swordsman arc, guys. And what did you think of that whole sequence, bro, with the whole God Hand and the Count's backstory? I mean, it's a lot. There's a lot that goes into that little part. Um, just one chapter. I want to say it's literally just one chapter that all that shit happens in, and it's a lot. A lot gets revealed, um, and it's fucking epic.
Yeah.
Epic. It's really something, a showpiece of, first of all, art and storytelling, because you're just like Puck as a reader in this moment. You're like, what the hell is going on? And it's just incredible, man. What are your thoughts on that whole final sequence?
I really enjoyed it. That's probably my favorite section of the arc, for sure. Like hands down. I remember even when I first read it years ago, um, just the scenery of like that pocket dimension or whatever they're in. Like I guess they're in
Yeah.
hell. I guess, but just that little like I really like depictions of hell that aren't like very stereotypical. Like I don't want to see like rivers of lava and like fire and like flaming bodies and like winged demons flying everywhere, but just kind of like weird shit that's like this isn't really what I was expecting. Kind of like I like how it kind of plays with perspective. It's very much like that one painting, like that famous painting of the stairs that turn into like a ceiling, and like you're not exactly sure of like the perspective, and it's made to be all weird. Like that's exactly where they're at, pretty much. Um,
I'm pretty sure Kentaro Miura copied that painting for that section
I
of.
wouldn't be surprised
I'm
because
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that one like double page spread that I showed you
yeah, yeah,
was a kind of a recreation of that painting, that famous painting, because I've seen that painting before, and it's very, very fucking similar.
right. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised because it's basically the same thing. But just the idea of like these, just like weird perspectives and stuff like that's like a non-traditional appearance of what's supposed to be the underworld or hell, I think is very interesting. And the way that that double page spread is laid out, like I said, it reminded me of like a fighting game arena, almost like I don't know, like in Smash they have like those big arenas, like
Yeah, like a Battlefield or some shit, or like Final Destination.
yeah, Final Destination, but like Final Destination mixed with one of those ones where it's like huge and like your character becomes really small because the landscape
Mhm.
is really big. It's like a
Yeah,
mixture of
yeah, yeah.
those, but Final Destination is definitely what I had in mind when I originally said that. Um,
Yeah, for sure. I could definitely see that.
but yeah, it's really neat, man. The scenery, the art is all fantastic, and just the appearance of the God Hand is really cool. It's definitely got some like Hellraiser vibes. Just like these weird horror villains, but they're like cosmic in a way. Like that's one thing I
Mm.
really like about Berserk, and I said it before. I'll say it 100 more times. Is just the blend of fantasy, horror, and science fiction. They're just all stuff I really like, and it's blended so well. And it harkens back to H.P. Lovecraft, right, from like the 20s, where you've got like fucking Call of Cthulhu and the King in
Yeah.
Yellow and shit like that, where it's like weird cosmic, gross tentacle like beings that in outer space that are space demons and shit. Like it's just really neat. And then put in a fantasy setting where they're almost like those weird space demons, but also like dark wizards, like warlocks, just like kind of mixed together and like, oh, it's just so fucking metal, man. It's awesome. Uh, the
Fuck yeah, it is, dude.
the character designs are really cool. They're all very unique.
Oh yeah.
What's the chick's name?
Slan.
Sland. Yeah, she's definitely very much like a succubus kind of.
Oh yeah.
Like you could tell she's like a sex demon or something because she's got like her titties out and like she's all ooh, you know what I mean?
All
Like
sexy and shit like that.
yeah, no, she's definitely like a succubus.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It definitely.
When I was reading it, I knew her name was something like Sland, but there's a similar character in Warhammer called Slanesh. That's like basically, not to get into like the Warhammer lore, but there's like these primordial gods that are like they have different like powers and they rule over like they have different, they're gods, so they have like different aspects. And Slanesh is basically like the god of excess and like lust and like that kind of thing. And so like a lot of the people that are cultists of Slanesh will have like weird orgies and like parties and stuff like weird shit. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like I don't know, Slanesh, Sland. It's kind of a similar name, and so when I was reading it, I kept wanting to call her Slanesh, even though that's not correct. But I don't know. That's just kind of a comparison that I drew there. And speaking of like weird orgies and like stuff like that, that scene with the Baphomet, I remember, dude. That was the first time where I was like, whoa, because obviously like the first page of Berserk with like guts clapping cheeks. I mean, it's whatever, right? I mean, it's weird. It's kind of funny, if anything.
It's kind of like short. It's like a page long.
Yeah.
Like it's literally like 2-3 panels of It's honestly just 2 panels that you could see Guts fucking pile driving this weird fucking demon, but the rest, it's just Guts being Guts, killing that shit.
Well, but my point though is like it's weird and it's like sexual and all that, but like I didn't really care. Like it's whatever. And I mean, there's some like weird, gross stuff throughout, but like that scene in particular, like the big thing happening was when I was like, whoa, like this is weird, freaky shit, bro. Like, and it's a double page spread. You see everything, bro. Like,
oh yeah,
like it's
yeah, dude, it's fucking intense. It's intense,
weird. It's gross. It's uncomfortable.
uncomfortable.
But at the same time, that art though, like it's
It
gross.
conveys it very fucking well. Like, I mean, obviously, it's not something that we want to, see, of course, but
Right.
it's fucking drawn.
That's what makes it so disturbing
class.
is because it's so weird and gross, but then it's like the skill behind it. You got to think. A dude sat down and drew this shit for like a week. Like,
Yep. Just for us to look at it for 9 seconds, 10 seconds.
Right. And like for somebody to think of that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like I think of some fucked up stuff, and like I said, I'm a writer. I make some weird shit sometimes, but like he thought of it, he drew it out. Like
he's like, yo, I thought of this wild shit. I'm gonna fucking show you. I'm gonna show you.
Yeah, dude. I don't know, just stuff like that. I mean, yeah, this like last volume, like volume 3, that contains like all that stuff is my favorite by far. It's
for sure.
It's like
for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome. And what's cool is like you look at the volumes and like the chapter list, and most like shonen manga have like 7 chapters or so per volume, and this is like 3 chapters, 2 or 3 chapters per volume. So like these chapters are huge, which is something that I really appreciate. It's almost like a giant sized issue of like comics, where you get those like double sized issues.
So that's just unique to the Black Swordsman, because this, whenever we start getting deep
Oh,
to the Golden Age and shit, we
okay,
got like normal size, like 7, 8 issue, sized volumes and shit like that. So it definitely
gotcha.
does smooth out, but I feel like with like how you want to get people invested in your story, you kind of almost, that's why like first issue comics are normally oversized,
Yeah,
because they kind of want to get you pulled in, they kind of want to get you invested in these characters. And I feel like, you know Kentaro Miura's like, you know what, instead of doing that for the first one fucking chapter, I'm gonna do that with the first, what, fucking 9 chapters of this
something
of
like
this
that.
book. Yeah, so and I loved it, dude, because it doesn't break flow, it doesn't do any of that, it just fucking is like presenting to you this wild fucking story, and you're just like Puck, you don't know what the fuck is going on until you get later on in the series and you really start to understand these different themes and different stuff that's going on. But reading it at face value, it's just fucking wild,
Yeah,
wild,
man.
wild, wild.
It's awesome, bro. I'm loving it, and I'm very excited to continue, bro. I can't wait. Because there, I mean, even in this episode, hearing you talk about stuff, there's a few things that I learned. Like I didn't exactly know how the apostles worked. So knowing that, I'm excited to see like the kind of the kind of monsters and stuff Guts fights later on. Like I know about Zod, but outside of Zod, I don't really know anything else he fights. Like there's the one forest demon thing, like the fairy, almost looks like a big evil puck. He fights that, but those are like literally the only 2 things I know about. So I'm excited to see if there's other like cool apostles, like weird cool monster designs, and like they all have something unique about them. Um, yeah,
Bro, you are fucking in for
yeah,
a wild fucking, like it gets fucking, because the Count Slug form, man, is fucking wild. But dude, there are some, like, first of all, disgusting looking apostles, but then there are some fucking truly, like, awesome, like literal ripped out of a fucking Elden Ring, a Dark Souls,
that's what I
like
was
boss.
about to say.
Bro, it's, dude, there's like one apostle I'm thinking of in particular, that if you guys have read fucking Irving, like if you guys have read Berserk, Irving is like my favorite um apostle design. And he comes in a quite a bit like later on in the story, but a fucking awesome, awesome, awesome design, man. Awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait for stuff like that. I'm excited, bro.
So let me ask you something.
So
So with would you be upset if Berserk went straight medieval with it and completely took out all of the demons and made it just a straight, you know, this house versus this house, this fucking group of soldiers versus this group of soldiers, without really any demon, like, because that was like, I mean, it sounds like very controversial and very like a hot take, but whenever I read the Golden Age, I was like, man, where are these fucking demons at, man? Where are these cool ass like demon battles and shit? And it wasn't that, like, at all. Like I said, like it very much takes a fucking like how we were gonna do Black Swordsman plus the Golden Age. They're just so fucking different in its way he tells the story. So I was just wondering what your like thoughts, like what are you in love with Berserk with? Are you in love with the demon fighting, like the demon designs? Are you in love with just the mystery, the story? Like what, like how, I'm just wondering how you're gonna feel about the Golden Age, because obviously it's the most famous manga arc ever. You know what I mean? So I just, that was one thing that I kind of was like thrown off about a little bit, but I just wanted to hear what your thoughts were on that.
I think that that's a valid question. um, and not really something I've given much thought into. But I mean, given the things that I read and like the stuff that I have read, uh, I'm big into Game of Thrones. I've read the books, which aren't very like they're fantasy, but like the first two books are three even are very like character driven, like not super fantastical, just straight up like historical almost. And I read historical fiction too. Like I read just like not fantasy, just you can't see it, but Bernard Cornwell is one of my favorite authors. He just writes historical fiction. Uh, there's no like fantasy. Well, I mean, there's some like. Never mind. I'm not gonna get into it, but I think I would be comfortable with that just because I already have experience with that kind of stuff. I dig history and just put into like this historical fiction kind of medieval setting is something that I already dig that stuff, so I wouldn't be disappointed.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be honest, bro. There's a good like, because I think the Golden Age arc is like a little under 100 chapters, and for like I would say a good 85-90% of it, there's not a single bit of fantasy involved at all.
So it's like 10 or 11 volumes, right?
Yeah, it's 11 volumes, and I would say for about 9 volumes of that, it's just straight medieval storytelling. Like no fantasy. There's kind of fantasy elements, but
But
like you ain't gonna see no puck. You ain't gonna see no fucking like, you know.
but knowing what I know though, I think it would also be interesting cuz it's all about that build up.
Oh, and that's the best part about it is not like because you know we know Griffith is bad from this first arc. It's just kind of like what the fuck? How is it gonna unfold? And there's a lot of shit that happens until that obviously that infamous moment that we all know.
Well,
But
like think about it like this. Like I love a good story where you can see where you know what's going to happen to an extent and you see the tragedy unfold. Like watch the first 3 Star Wars movies, like A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and then go back and watch the prequels.
uh,
And then you see
yes, yes,
Anakin, and he like you can see
the
him
pod racing.
go.
You could see his yes.
Yep, you can see his character go downhill all the way until Revenge of the Sith, right? It's that same sort of thing where you're just watching the slow, tragic downfall of a character that you know is gonna happen because you see what they've turned into. But it's
Exactly.
just watching that slow burn, and I'm here for it, man.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to ask you that because that was one thing that kind of, you know, like in all honesty, dude, my first time reading Berserk, and obviously the second time reading it, I was very much appreciative of the Golden Age arc. But whenever I was reading the Golden Age arc for the first time, I was like this is not what I fell in love with the series like with in the first place. I fell in love with Guts fucking some demons up. You know what I mean?
Which
And I'm
that
like,
shit's cool, but I mean, there's what 30 volumes of that after this. Like I know
yeah,
there's more of it to come.
yeah,
It's all good.
yeah, and I feel like yeah, that was just a question that I wanted to ask. But now I'm really excited to reread the Golden Age arc, man, because there's, if we're breaking down the fucking Black Swordsman arc like this, we are
How
gonna
long
have
have
a.
we been rolling?
I have no idea.
It's
It's got to be 2 hours at least.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock now. By me, when did I start? Dude, I don't even know. Two and a
I don't
half,
know.
3 hours.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, we've
But I
been.
feel like with the Golden Age arc, we definitely need to have like some fucking bullet points to where we both just discuss instead of just going beat by beat.
Oh
But I
yeah.
felt like we should have gone beat by beat for the Black Swordsman arc anyway, because there's not really much that happens. It's kind of just like a dissecting of all the different parts. But we could definitely discuss off stream
If we
about
were
how.
going beat by beat for Golden Age, it'd be like a
Oh,
15 episodes.
dude, it'd be like a 15-hour long fucking video.
We would have to do an episode for every volume, probably.
Yeah. So nah, and I don't want to do that. I kind of just want to review the whole thing as its entirety. But we'll have some bullet points. Obviously, we're probably gonna miss some shit, but
Oh yeah,
yeah, man. Um going back to the Black Swordsman arc, what this whole fucking episode is about it in its entirety. I think it is overall a fantastic introduction to this world, a fantastic way Kentaro Miura hooks you, and a fantastic display of art, like just super fucking impressive, man. Um, and on a face value read, you might not catch it, but there's a lot more than just big guy swing big sword and big bad guy. You know what I mean? Like there's so much more. And dude, to me personally, like I don't know if you want to give these arcs a rating at the end
I
of
was
each of
gonna
them,
ask that.
but I do. I would like to. And if I had to fucking rank this arc, man, like it was literally this arc broke me into the medium of reading books, like literally. So if I had to rank this dude, I'm gonna have to give it like an 8.5 at the very fucking least, very least, because like I said, the hooks are great, the art is fantastic, and it was what brought me into this entire medium, man. It was an entire new world that I never knew I was really into until I fucking read this arc, man. It was a fucking eye opener to me, fully.
For sure. I think if you like again, if you read it at face value, I think the Black Swordsman arc is like a 6.57, 6.7. But 6.7. Yeah. But knowing what I know and like sitting here and very much like dissecting it and getting into the nitty-gritty of that character study, for me it sits at like an 8. Like I know I don't want to go too high because I know there's some pretty high highs in Berserk. And like you told me before we started, this read through, it just keeps getting bigger and better. The art improves. Like I've seen some of the panels from later in the series. Like, it's fucking wild. So I can't. I don't want to go super high out the gate. Um, but at the same time, I can't ignore how good it was. So I think, after dissecting it and all that, it sits at like an 8 for me. So I guess it's like a 4 out of 5. 8 out of 10,
Yeah,
8 out of 10, 4 out of 5, same shit.
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I'm fucking glad you enjoyed it, man, because I feel like me and you like we've had our disagreements on the stuff that we've read. Like I loved the fucking Absolute Batman Annual. You didn't really like it so much.
It's
Like
okay.
I yeah, like I love Skinbreaker. You don't really like it so much. Like it fucking feels good to like not finally, but it fucking feels good to just both be on the same fucking train together, bro. Like we're fucking both loving it. I might obviously like it a little bit more than you, but it's still
Yeah, this is your third time reading it.
yeah, like it just this is something that fucking I feel like we're both gonna just fucking love, man. And I just cannot wait to see after the Golden Age arc and whenever we start getting into like the Lost Children, Conviction, Falcon of the Millennium Empire, fucking Fantasia. I just can't wait to see your reactions, bro, because it just gets fucking insane. Like really.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I do think that's what's really cool about. I mean, us. We've been talking. Like, how long ago did we like reconnect? It's been a few months.
It's been since I got it's been since I watched the Superman movie
Because
in
I
theaters.
remember I saw you upload like after that, and I think I commented on your video, and then that's how like we started like reconnecting or something. It was something like that.
Well, because I remember
Because you had a comic haul or something like that.
yeah, I had a Superman comic haul, and I remember Zag messaged me on Discord, and he's like, "Hey, bro," he's like, "I know I'm not into comics, but do you remember MLGman?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And he's like, "Well, he's like really into comic tube or whatever you want to call it, like
Mm,
comic YouTube." He's like, "You should hit him up. Maybe you guys could like chop it up about comics or whatever." And that was literally I remember I messaged you that same day, and I was like, "Hey, bro, fucking maybe we could like talk about comics and shit like that." And here we are now, bro. I mean, fucking
right.
that's all it takes.
Well, so it's been what, 3-4 months maybe. Like I don't know how long
Probably
it's been.
probably like early 4, close to 5, some shit like that. 4 or
Okay,
5 months.
but what I think is really cool, like since we've started like reconnecting and talking about comics and stuff, is, I mean, obviously, you're like, I'm not an OG when it comes to comics. Like I just got into comics last year, but you're just getting into it for the first time. So I'm very much introducing you to stuff. You're finding stuff on your own too, and just having that discussion is really valuable to me, and it's really cool because you catch stuff that I don't catch, and you bring up points and different ways of looking at it that I never really thought about, and we influence each other's opinions in different ways. I think it's really neat. And I mean, like, when I told you to read East of West, and you're like, dude, this is like you liking it, but I could tell a little bit. You're like, this is kind of whack. You know what I mean? But you get what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Like, I think like us being able to have different opinions and see things differently. That's why having a podcast where we talk about these sort of things is so valuable. It's just all about different perspectives, and it's awesome, man. I'm so glad that we're doing this, especially uh, out the gate with a series like Berserk. Um, this is awesome, man.
oh, dude. And like first arc, I'm already, bro. You've probably brought up like 4 to 5 different points that I've read this shit twice. This is my
Mm.
third time reading this arc, and you've brought up like 4 to 5 different points that I never would have even thought of. And I like you're saying, man, I find that very valuable because it's just bringing fresh ideas, fresh opinions, and fresh takes on the entire thing that I fucking love, and I'm
Right.
all ears. You know what I mean? So it's it's fucking awesome, man. I love this shit that we're doing, and I can't wait to just continue, man, because it's just fun. You know what I mean? It's fucking fun. And not many people like to read already, and it's just a series that I love and hold very dear to my heart, and we get to fucking talk about it arc by arc, fucking unfiltered and shit. Like it's fucking just a good time, man. And you know, I appreciate that.
And now that we're not using StreamYard with like the free version, we're just using OBS, dude, we could make a 6-hour episode if we wanted to. Not that we're gonna, but like
100%.
we can. I mean, obviously there's things we have going on in life that limit us to an extent, but theoretically we could sit here for like a day and just chat it up, bro. Like, I
100%.
I love not
100%.
having you know any chains around us limiting what we can do here. It's really really awesome.
Oh yeah, it's a great time, man, and I can't wait till episode 2 comes out. I'm gonna have to hunker down and get grinding, bro, because there's a lot of fucking volumes in this next arc. A
Oh yeah,
lot.
dude. I don't know when we're. Do we have a time frame for when we want to do the next Berserk review, or are we just gonna kind of see where it goes and we'll figure it out?
Well, because obviously you're gonna read it faster than me,
Probably.
probably. So I don't know, man. I think we could probably talk about that off stream and shit like that. But I feel like within like couple weeks, 2 maybe 3 weeks, something like that to finish it. I mean,
Probably by the end of the month, huh?
yeah, something like that. Yeah, because it's already what, the 8th or 9th. Yeah,
How
I feel
about
like, yeah, we could definitely.
how about we try to do it like around Thanksgiving,
Yeah, we could do that. Thanksgiving's what, the 24th?
something like that.
Yeah, we could definitely do that.
I don't know. I don't remember. But like
Yeah.
Thanksgiving weekend would be a because I'm off of school and well, I guess I work, but I don't know. I'll have a couple days where you just read and finish. And I guess do you have off of work for Thanksgiving and all that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Okay, so you would have time to finish anything up that you need to finish up, So
Yes, sir.
all right, man, let's do it.
Yeah, hell yeah, bro. I'm excited, bro. This next video is gonna be fucking. It's gonna be banging like fucking Guts was in that first panel. No cap.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Well, I
Nah.
appreciate you talking to me about fucking Berserk, man. It's been a great time. We got issues, bro. This is it.
We got
This is it.
issues, bro. Guts got issues.
Oh shit, that guy got more issues than we could even think of, bro.
More issues than probably I don't know. Most people combine.
Yeah, 100%, bro. And we're gonna get to that next arc. I'm excited, man. Next step.
Yeah, buddy.
But all right, guys. Well, that's been me and Luke, me and MLGman, Xboxgut and MLGman. I appreciate everyone that dropped in. I know it's been kind of a long video, but we just wanted to dissect this whole arc. We wanted to dissect this awesome arc. That there's so much to it, and it definitely deserved its own video. I'm glad Luke came around to agreeing with me on that. And I just want to thank everyone for watching. It's been Xboxgut.
MLGman.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. See you guys next episode.
See ya.